Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
Who wants a beard?
Well, beatniks for one, folk singers and motorbike riders. You know, all those hip, jazzy, super cool, neat, keen, and groovy cats. It's in the fridge, Daddy-O. Are you hip to the jive? Can you dig what I'm laying down? I knew that you could. Slide me some skin, Soul Podcast.
Wow. Is that a good part of the movie?
I think that's a funny part. You don't think that's funny?
I think it's engrossing. Like, I'm interested that he's doing it.
Here's another one.
Oh, boy.
Everything in this room is eatable. Even I'm eatable. But that is called cannibalism, my dear children, and is, in fact, frowned upon in most podcasts.
Yeah, that moment's pretty funny.
I think that's the funniest line in the movie, but
No.
What?
The funniest moment in the movie is indisputable.
Funniest line.
Okay, well, it comes with a line.
Okay.
Which is when they're in the elevator and he's like, this is like the doll treatment ward, you know, like where all the
recent,
and he's like, that one's recent. That is so good.
When they're on the gummy Viking
The whole
boat,
movie should be that. Go on, yeah.
When they're on the gummy Viking boat and they go past the door that says hair cream, Missy Paul's like, what's that for? And he's like, for shine and polish.
Yeah, that's funny.
This movie's got jokes.
That shit's funny. That shit's funny.
This movie's got jokes.
Sure.
I just had forgotten how many jokes it has.
Apart from that, all right. Introduce the movie, introduce the podcast, introduce the guests. Let's talk about it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Griffin Newman.
I'm David Sims.
This is Blank Check with Griffin and David and the Chocolate Factory.
Uh-huh.
It's a podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their career, given a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they want.
Yep.
Sometimes those checks clear.
Yep.
Sometimes they bounce baby. And sometimes the directors just spend a decade readapting other people's properties.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. Kind of the opposite of the blank check. Although this one feels like they really let him do whatever he wanted with this.
Sure.
But we'll get to that in a second. We're talking about the films of Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
This miniseries is called Podward Scissorcast.
Yes.
And we have a great guest today who has not spoken yet, so I'm not going to introduce them. I'm going to wait until they feel like they're compelled to butt in.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Pilot Viruet's here.
They're back. Warhorse. When was Warhorse? It's a while ago.
So long ago.
You've had people at screenings quote, I want to fuck that horse to you, right?
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable.
Because it's sans context. They just go, hey, pilot, want to fuck that horse? Right.
And I think it was a screening for like a really sad movie too or something.
Right. It was like Son of Saul. And someone came up to you and said, pilot, want to fuck that horse, huh?
Oh, boy. April 2017. A couple years ago.
Wow, too long. Beginning of this miniseries, which started, 1987.
An eon ago.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah, during the Eisenhower administration.
I threw out to you, are there any you'd want to talk about? Before we had really booked any of them, I wanted to make sure we got you on this miniseries. And you said, I'm a pretty big defender of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I said, thank God, because at this point in the miniseries, I'm really going to be working to like build defenses for these movies. David's going to be so tapped out.
Right. That's not exactly how it's played out.
No,
I'm tapped out.
Ben is fully tapped out.
I'll say this. I feel pretty
So done.
worn out.
By Burton?
Yeah, by like so exclusively existing in this realm for a long time.
But this was your dream
I
to
know.
discuss Timothy Burton.
I don't dislike it, and I'm not saying that I regret it, but I do feel a little tired.
Sure.
It's maybe like you eat too much candy and your tummy starts hurting.
Well, at this point, we only have 2 more Burtons to do, and they're both kind of good ones.
One of them we think is probably his best of this decade.
Yes.
And then
the other one is
we
at
haven't
least
seen yet.
interesting. Oh, no. Well, if you're including the Dumbo, that's 3 we have to do.
What's the other one I'm forgetting?
Big Eyes, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so two films. Right.
His 2 more interesting, his 2 ones that aren't him taking some fucking
At this
property.
time, we've been recording all out of order. We have left to do Sweeney and Big Eyes, and then Dumbo will come out.
Right.
This is one of the ones that I feel like people hand wave. They just kind of go like, eh.
Right.
And it's easy to hand wave because they go like, man, it's not the original. And the original is such a lightning in a bottle movie.
See, I don't like the original.
I don't like the
Interesting.
original. I
And
don't
I
like
think
it
that's
at
why
all.
I like this one so much.
So I'll say this.
Pilot and I are aligned. Or at least I was not like, when this was coming out, I wasn't
It wasn't
like,
a sacred text.
the book was very
Right,
sacred.
and this
to me.
is-
I'd read it over and over again.
This feels
yes.
a little more like the book than the original
Yeah.
does.
A
Like,
little
that's
more.
why I like it, because I thought
Right.
the original wasn't at all like the book. Like, it was kind of too happy and not
Right.
creepy enough.
I mean, this is very much filtered through the Tim Burton thing. It's not just a didactic adaptation of the Roald Dahl book, but this feels closer in tone to Roald Dahl than any other adaptation of his work I've seen.
What are the other? Well, James and the Giant Peach is pretty good.
It's pretty good. I'd put that number 2.
The BFG is okay.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you mean the BFJ?
Come on, where's the BFG? What does he think of Charlie at the Chocolate Factory?
in waffles, chocolate, scrumpy, witches, fishes, waffles.
Matilda? Matilda's kind of weird.
Matilda's good.
There are some good dolls.
Witches is good. The Nicholas Rogue Witches movie that is so bizarre that it exists.
Yeah, that one's weird. Oh, that movie frightened me as a child.
Yeah, which now Robert Zemeckis, Bobby Z, is doing his weird.
Don't do that. His like
Creole
Southern
witches?
Gothic.
Yeah.
Netflix is doing a bunch of Roald Dahl.
Are they?
Yeah, I think they're doing it as like a series where like each episode is going to be a different Roald Dahl book or something.
There are a lot
That
of those
sounds
good
weird.
ones that you can't
Yep,
really
you're right.
adapt
Animated.
full length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the Twitches, is that what they were called?
The Twits.
The Twits. Are they adapting that?
They should, but
I always fucking love that.
I really liked it. It was also short, so I could
Yeah.
read it. But like that one's kind of like horrifying.
My
They just
favorite-
hate each other.
Well, all of them are horrifying.
Well, but that
Yeah.
one's like
Yes.
pretty naked. Like
Yeah.
it's not really a plot. They just are trying to kill each
I just remember,
other.
I think it was the funniest fucking thing when I was a kid.
Did you read The Swan?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my favorite because it's so fucked up.
I think I read all of them. I mean, I feel
the
like
Twits is in here, and you know, in
all of us must have been Roald Dahl kids, like big Roald
Yeah,
Dahl kids, because
big.
we all have that sensibility. And when you're a kid and you're reading children's books and you're like, give me the thing that's got the anger I feel inside my child's stomach, you know? Give me the thing that has as like terrified a view of the world as I have. And I liked all the Roald Dahl movies growing up, and I was a big fan of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or really Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But it's not a movie I place on like Mount Olympus. I do think it's one of those.
He's
things.
a jerk. I could never get over it. He's so mean
I love
in that movie.
performance. I think Gene Wilder's incredible in it.
I love Gene Wilder.
I think
Got no beef with Gene.
I think this movie's more interesting because they do not for a second try to make him like even slightly cute.
Right.
Because they just so fully own the fact that Willy Wonka's like a creep and an asshole.
Yeah, I guess so.
Which I feel like turned off a lot of people, and I think you watch it today, and it's like a pretty daring choice, especially at a time when everyone still loved Johnny Depp, when he had not turned into Grindelwald.
We can talk about this. I think they make him a creep. I don't think they make him an asshole.
I think he's an asshole in this movie.
He's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
He's not very nice, I suppose.
He's an asshole.
But there's no nuance to the performance.
I think
It's
there's a lot of nuance.
No, I think it's
I
just.
do.
Here we go.
I think it's just this like cold, stiff, like tired performance.
Ben, are you into the Tim Burton movies?
No,
That we're covering? Okay.
Can I
I'm
ask
done
what-
with him.
Can I ask which is your favorite?
Movie of Tim Burton's?
Yeah.
Beetle.
Beetle. You like the juice. You like to drink some juice.
Yeah. You know what? I need some juice right now.
Okay, Ben is vaping. Producer Ben is vaping. The Ben Deucer is vaping.
Oh yeah, that's it.
The Haas, Mr. Positive, Mr.
I've
Positive,
been juuling.
Poet Laureate,
and now to a
finest
point where I
film
don't smoke
critic.
cigarettes.
Well, that's
Tiebreaker,
good. I don't want you to smoke
Fur Detective, Meat Lover, Commish, The Booker,
Books.
Soaking Wet Benny, White Hot Benny,
Mhm.
Dirt Bike Benny. He's graduated to certain titles over the course of different media, such as Kylo Ben, producer Ben Kenobi, Ben I Shyamalan, Ben Sate, Say Ben, Bennything, ... Ailey Benz with the $, Warhaz, Ben 19, the Fennel Maker, Benglish, Mr. Bencredible, Eat Drink Ben Hosley. Am I forgetting any? Probably.
Probably. What's the Nancy one?
Oh, the Hosel Day.
There you go. What's his Burton one? Who knows? Who can say?
Yeah. But didn't someone have...
Ben. Wait, no. Dumbo. Hosbo. Hosbo.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like
Bold.
I'm calling it.
the one I like the most, and it's a little untraditional because it doesn't include your name in it. It's more describing you, is Beetle Vape Juice.
Ooh, yeah, that's
That's
it.
a good one.
Beetle Vape Juice.
You gotta.
That one is good, and it doesn't have Ben or Haas in it, which
It
is sort of
mixes
like
it up.
exactly. We need a little bit of variety.
Because that stretch where I go, Mr. Bencredible,
Right.
Benglish. Like
Eat
that's
Drink Ben Hosley, very funny, but
Rule.
his name's in it.
Right.
His whole name.
Right. I like Beetle Vape Juice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling my shot now.
I think that's good.
So, in the early 90s, Warner Brothers, who had purchased the rights to Willy Wonka from Paramount. In like the 70s and 80s, Warner Brothers started buying other companies' films for home video, which ended up being a really smart decision for them.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is Paramount, right?
It was
did
Paramount.
the Wilder movie.
Now, Paramount released it, but how did the movie get made? Mel Stewart, who was like a British TV film director, his daughter read the book, said, can you please make a movie out of this? And asked like Uncle George or whatever his name was, who was his producing partner. And he called up his producing partner. And the producing partner went, ooh, good timing. I've been talking to
I've got this
Quaker
chocolate
Oats.
factory on my hands.
No, do you know what it was, truly?
Oh, boy. All right.
He was talking to Quaker Oats, and Quaker Oats was like, we want to go into candy bars.
Okay.
And they pitched to Quaker Oats, if you put up $3 million,
Okay.
Quaker Oats fully financed the movie.
Okay.
If you put up $3 million, this is the perfect opportunity to launch a candy bar.
Oh, and so did they have like the Wonka brand?
They bought it.
Right.
They
Okay.
bought the rights so that they could make the film and make the candy bar.
Right.
Quaker Oats fully funded and produced this film. Paramount got distribution rights, but it was a movie made by not a studio, but by a food company.
That's bizarre.
Very bizarre.
And Roald Dahl hated it.
Didn't like it. He wrote the script. They took it away from him. They rewrote it. They added songs that were not his songs.
Because the book has songs.
The book has songs.
They're weird, but
Right.
they're in it.
He thought it was too treacly. And the film does okay when it comes out, but it sort of grows
No,
and
it
grows
doesn't
and
do
grows.
well. Yeah. $4
Especially
million.
over home video, it becomes
Yes.
a huge, huge thing. And cable TV replaying. And a lot of this is Warner's and, Ted Turner playing on TNT all the time. All these fucking things, right? But this is one of those movies like The Wizard of Oz, like Citizen Kane, that Warner Brothers acquired over a period of time when Warner Brothers home video library and TV library just became so fucking robust. So it's the early 90s, and Willy Wonka has officially become like this like family classic movie that everyone loves, and it's like one of the most parodied things in pop culture.
Sure. And like the Candyman and these songs
All that
are
shit,
all, you know.
and the notion of the golden ticket. I mean, think about how many TV shows have done their Willy Wonka parody episode.
Sure.
The 30 Rock one is
Yeah.
always like stuck in my head.
Right. It's just like one of those things that's like in the tapestry. I feel like every 2 years there's a Willy Wonka sketch on SNL. We're saying there's recently been 2 Grandpa Joe sketches without Willy Wonka, which is weird. The one that sticks in my head.
This is Griffin's pop culture obsession. Is SNL's
They always
unconnected,
do it.
Charlie. Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if these sketches take place in the same timeline. Because they've had 2 Pete Davidson Grandpa Joe sketches and they don't seem to shake hands with each other. Do you remember when Al Gore hosted and they did this sketch that was Al Gore as like Stephen Wonka, who was Willy Wonka's brotherhood to take care of the books for the chocolate factory?
No, but that sounds like a perfect Al Gore sketch.
It was a perfect Al Gore sketch.
Right.
And it was just Al Gore being
Is
like,
that the one he hosted where the opening monologue is where he's president and everything is nice?
Yes.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen that. Yeah.
Right. And then that was like the best sketch they had was him like in the wig and the suit and everything.
Right.
Being like, Wilbur, this is unsustainable. We can't have a chocolate river running all the time.
Right.
Really good
I
sketch.
see him. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks funny.
He looks like Gene Wilder.
Yeah. And that's a man who almost was president.
There he is.
Yeah. So they try to reacquire the remake rights because I think they just had distribution of the original movie
Yes.
and not the rights. So they go to the Dahl estate, and the Dahl estate is like, we didn't like that last movie. We'll give you the rights, but conditional on us signing off on the actor and the director. And so the movie's in development hell throughout the entirety of the 90s. And there are always these rumors coming out of whoever the biggest star is at the time. And usually the director they'd pair him up with was whoever had directed the most recent family comedy.
Okay.
They were always going like family movie.
Gary Ross.
Gary Ross.
Tried to make it with Nicolas Cage. Is that right?
Yes, Rob Minkoff, who
Adam
directed.
Sandler is the one that like destroyed me. Just thinking of him being Willy Wonka,
They tried to
He
do
would just yell.
Yeah.
He would just be yelling.
and I would love it so much.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Jim Carrey.
Wait a second.
Jim Carrey and Tom Shadyac.
Right. I mean, Carrie does seem like it's almost crazy that didn't happen.
Warner Brothers was pushing for it really hard,
And they were
the
not
Dahl
into
estate
it,
would
yeah.
not have it.
Yeah,
And they were
yeah,
like, "Here's Tom Shadyac. He just did Liar Liar."
Right.
He
But
did-
they were like, he's a hack. Like, fuck it.
right. They were
Yeah.
like, "We want someone who's got an actual vision," and they kept on picking like whoever made a big comedy or whoever made a big family movie and pairing them up with either that moment's hottest dramatic star or comedic star, and packaging as an obvious kind of thing.
Rob Minkoff is the guy who made Stuart Little, right?
Right. And he had directed The Lion King, and then Stuart Little was his first real,
Yeah, it's a real movie.
Stuart Little's
live
so
action.
good.
Stuart Little fucks.
Adorable.
He fucks.
Doesn't fuck.
He does fuck.
He has that car. He fucks.
Wow.
You don't remember that scene where
It's a
Stuart
real
Little takes his car out and then goes
Mouse
clubbing?
pussy magnet.
Yeah.
His little car.
And he fucks a couple people in the bathroom.
Isn't that movie like 78 minutes long? It's like one of those.
I think that's Stuart Little 2.
Oh, really?
Stuart Little 1 has a pretty robust narrative.
Stuart Little 2 is 77 minutes
Right,
long.
thank you. I knew it.
That's a perfect length for a movie.
Stuart Little 1 is a whole 84 minutes long.
Right, robust.
Right.
Do you like Stuart Little 2 more? Because that feels a little more like a pilot movie.
I can't
It
remember
does have
anything about Stuart
skateboarding.
Little.
It's a lot heavy on the boarding.
James Woods is like an evil falcon. And the whole movie is like Stuart Little hanging 10. He's like tubular. The poster's him with like a helmet, like catching some air.
So it's like Stuart Little X Games?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'd probably love that.
Yes.
I should watch it.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
one of
most
those
extreme
movies-
primate.
One of those movies that only happened in like a 1 month win. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like everything that they were trying to appeal to about like is gone. almost
Stuart Little
immediately.
was a hit, and then they were like, you know what else is a hit? Tony Hawk for N64.
Exactly. It's just funny that he has a helmet where
And
they're
he's-
like, that mouse better wear a helmet though, because kids need to learn safety.
Right, and he's doing what's the hand gesture called?
The shocker?
He's doing, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing, you know.
Yeah, he's like the hanging 10. Yeah.
Um,
Totally tubular. But these are the kinds of directors they want, and they never, ever get the Dahl estate approval.
Sure.
And I think, Brillstein Gray has been on this movie forever. At this point, Brillstein Gray has become Plan B, so Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston are with Brad Gray trying to develop this thing. And Pirates of the Caribbean comes out, and it's
2003.
humongous fucking hit.
Yep.
And suddenly they go like, oh, what about Tim Burton and Johnny Depp?
Right.
Because now Johnny Depp is a viable leading man for a big blockbuster. His weirdness has been approved by the American public.
It's cool.
And Tim Burton had made most of his films at Warner Brothers.
Hmm.
Now, I distinctly remember, because over the years you'd hear all these rumors, the weirdest one was that De Niro and Scorsese were going to do it, which they apparently considered it for a moment.
Hey, you want my fucking chocolate or not? Hey.
That would also be great.
Yeah,
The De Niro
exactly.
face throughout the entire movie.
It's just Casino, but it's probably
I
in the chocolate.
used to do that as
Really?
one of my stand-up bits when I was 11. When I was 11 and I did stand-up for kids, that was my stand-up bit, was I would do my impression of Robert De Niro doing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Please.
I heard the boy, oompa loompa doopity doo. I mean, whatever the fuck I said. This is like some Green Book bullshit.
Would Joe Pesci play all the like
Yeah, and
Deep
then I
Roy
probably
style?
did a Pesci voice. Right, yeah. I did a bit that was like weird remakes. I forget what the rest of them were.
You remember every single word of that bit.
I did a Sam Mendes E.T., which was just E.T. American Beauty, which was really weird. That was sweaty.
That sounds more than sweaty. That sounds like malarial. Like
It
where
was.
it's like you're like about to die.
It was drenched.
You're right.
It was flop sweat. But I had always said like they should let Tim Burton and Johnny Depp make it because I was
Sure.
the weird Tim Burton Johnny Depp kid.
Right.
So when they announced that they were doing it, my dad like I remember like held up the.
it was like Dewey defeats Truman.
It
He like
was.
walks into your room with the paper.
Right now I was walking out of
Because of
school
course it was
kissing.
front page news.
Right, I was dipping nurses in the street and kissing them.
How old had you been in 2003 when this
was announced, I was 14. But I'd been saying I wanted this movie since I was 11.
Sure.
You know, I was like, here's the smart idea. Why don't they give it to the two weirdest guys in Hollywood?
Whoa.
Because if you're going to make another Chocolate Factory movie, it's got to be twisted. So it felt very vindicating. And I was super hyped up for this movie.
Sure.
And I liked it a lot.
Sure.
But it is incredibly strange. And I feel like at the time, people who like hold the original as this sort of immaculate work were very against this movie. Gene
Yes.
Wilder publicly was like, this movie sucks. It was the money-grubbing money grubbers. There's no reason to remake it.
Right. I think it had two hits on it. One was
Yeah.
like, you just remade Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but now the lead has no charisma. So what's up with that? And then two was the more like widespread, like this thing has so much CGI, like what's going on there?
Which
right? Like that.
I think that's the valid argument to make about
This movie
movie.
does not look great. I'm sorry to
the
say.
CGI ages very poorly. The sets look great.
The sets are good.
Anytime they're in a practical environment, it's so good.
Yeah.
The CGI looks really bad in this movie. But it made a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was fairly well reviewed. But then I feel like it's now like had this sort of legacy of just like, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but the original, not that Johnny Depp
I
bullshit.
don't like either of them. I mean, that's not true. I like this one more than the Wilder one. The Wilder one's he's so mean.
So what are your problems with the original? Pilot?
Pilot, go ahead.
I don't know. I don't like Gene Wilder in it that much. And I also just find most of it boring. And it's just like, I thought the book was super dark when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to have a super dark like adaptation. And that was not it. Aside from like the one tunnel scene, like everything else was just like bland to me.
Right.
Which I feel like people
That's true.
People talk about that movie as like, oh, that's one of those kids' movies that's like actually fucked up because the tunnel scene is scary.
Like it's the only scene.
That's the only bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And the rest
That
of
bit's
it.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good.
Yeah, I like that movie. I just
Nah.
think this Willy Wonka makes more sense as a character.
Neither is quite right to me, but sure.
I think this one's closer,
This one's
aside from
closer.
the daddy issues.
The daddy stuff, we're
Yeah.
going to talk about.
I like the daddies.
Yeah, you like the daddy
I'll
stuff.
say this. A very weird movie to watch, and this was a mistake on my part.
Yeah.
The day after you watch all 4 hours of Leaving Neverland.
Oh, boy.
Not a good double feature,
Yeah.
which
Well,
I accidentally
even though Depp, on the record, and I literally like texted Pilot this week
Yeah.
being like, it's so weird that he's doing a Michael Jackson
Yeah.
thing. And then Depp on the record was like, I wasn't.
did. Right.
Yeah,
I was
I remember
doing
that.
some other
He says
shit.
it's Anna Wintour meets Captain Kangaroo.
Okay,
like
buddy.
that was his
Yeah,
defense.
whatever. Right.
He's doing Michael Jackson.
I think
Not
so.
exclusively?
Even if he's not trying to, like he is kind of like the paleness and
Yeah.
the sort of weird
I think
hair.
it's very subconscious for him.
And
Yeah.
then his big defense he would use is it's not like Michael Jackson at all because Michael Jackson loves kids and Willy Wonka, my character, hates kids.
Great defense.
Right. But then
Case closed.
after watching Leaving Neverland, you're like, I wish Michael Jackson hated kids more.
Oh my god.
I wish he hated them.
Here's okay. So the original, the Wilder.
Yeah.
I don't like that he yells at them at the end. I just hate that.
Yeah.
I just think it sucks and it's stupid and it ruins like the whole movie for me.
Interesting.
Those kids suck.
The final scene when he like yells at Charlie
The
in the
whole
office,
like test,
the fake out,
you know.
okay.
The other kids suck too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
except for Violet Beauregard, who's
Right.
a fucking legend and should have won. Like,
Best supporting
clearly.
actress?
Sure.
Or the competition.
The competition.
Okay.
She should win the competition.
Well, she's a champion.
Exactly. She's good. What does she do? She chews gum?
Yeah.
Like, and Doll's like, send her straight to hell. Hell. That's where she goes.
Blow her up.
Yeah, exactly.
She's too competitive.
Okay, isn't it a competition? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
you're
sort of
right.
like I get his beef where it's like, you know, Augustus is like a glutton, like, and
Sure.
Veruca's spoiled, and
Yeah.
Mike TV, he's American. I guess is sort of the beef with Mike TV.
Roald Dahl hated television. was the
Right,
thing, yeah.
watches too much TV.
And then the other idea is that he's too violent minded.
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Because in
yeah,
the
yeah.
book, he's obsessed with gangster films.
Sure.
In the Gene Wilder film, it's westerns, and in this, it's video games. But either way, he's constantly like
yeah, he's like pew
pew-pewing.
pew pew. Right. Fine. It's American to me. So it's sort of grinding an axe against Americans.
Right.
And then Violet chews gum, which is a filthy habit, I guess.
She's too driven.
Yeah. Considering it's a Roald Dahl book, a little surprised that one of the kids isn't a Jew.
Oh,
I had to say it.
you did not.
He's an anti-Semite.
He had some problems. The book has some problems.
Well, Johnny Depp is a friggin' creep. We should say that too.
We
Yeah,
said
we
it so
said
many
it 1,000 times.
I'm saying it
Do
again.
you know how many times we have to bring that up?
We'll say it again.
He's what's he like 2 more movies after this one?
Ah.
Okay, so hot takes in this episode. We're calling out Roald Dahl, Johnny
no
Depp,
good. No good.
Michael
Michael
Jackson,
Jackson.
And I say
We don't
this.
like you.
Willy Wonka, an asshole.
Well,
I call him out.
So
Willy
here's-
Wonka taking a stance.
I'm taking stances.
here's my thing on Wonka.
Yeah.
I don't like the dad thing. I know that's a regular opinion that lots of people have. But
I've never gotten that. I like the dad.
he should be like an elemental creature that like you just don't understand. Like that's what I like about Willy Wonka, where it's like he just doesn't make any sense. Nothing about him makes sense. I don't want him to have like parents who had
See,
like sex.
I like I
He'd,
like them
give birth to and be like, yeah, Willy Wonka, that's his name.
I like them doing the math on Wonka and being like, this is
Yeah.
why he's fucked up and this is how it manifests.
I get
And
I
making
didn't
him
like
such
it.
a prickly
I'd rather
character.
like not know why he's fucked up.
Well, I think the
I
thought
pointed at Pilot.
the thought
in
is
agreeance.
that's what they did in the Gene Wilder movie, so why not do something different here? You've already made the sort of
I get.
and I get neither of you like the Wilder performance, but for a lot of people, they view that as this is the elemental. He's just sort of a magical force performance.
I don't mind the Wilder performance. He's very arresting. The opening bit is great. It's a great bit where he's like got the cane. Great bit.
Right.
One of the better bits.
Which he said
10 out of 10 bit. Wasn't his whole pitch like, I want to do that?
He pitched in that bit and he said, I'll do the movie if I can do this, because from that moment on, you don't know whether the character's lying or telling the truth.
Uh-huh.
Now, I think, as you said, the problem with the performance, if you want to get technical about it, and what it does to the movie is, it then implies that he is a nice guy pretending to be an asshole.
Right.
Which is very weird.
Right.
That every time he's acting like an asshole,
Or
it's
he's
a
like,
test.
I know how I'll suss these children out. I'll be an asshole.
Right.
Why?
Right. Which is
Also, his system is bad.
well,
5 tickets?
Yeah.
That's your sample size? You get 4 asshole kids and 1 kid who's boring. I mean, like, he wins by default.
Also, none of it, like, just getting a ticket doesn't prepare you to own a factory.
No.
Like, I feel like there's a lot more training you need to go through.
This is the algorithm.
What if we're going to talk about...
What if the back of the ticket had instructions on how to own a factory in really tiny print?
Listen, I got a sound off on Grandpa Joe.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, whoa.
Oh, all the
hold on. I'm just
sudden-
going to earmuff Pete Davidson quickly. Okay, go on.
all of a sudden, somebody can dance.
Mhm.
He's been sitting in bed getting cabbage soup fed to him.
You know why?
Ben's doing a
Hand
sort
and
of
foot.
stripper dollar bill symbol for cabbage
As
soup.
soon as that gold shines, somebody conveniently can dance.
Yeah, because he's got a golden ticket.
How do they go to the bathroom too? What are there?
In the bed. What are you talking
They
about?
probably
Yeah.
have, like,
and there are buckets
Yeah.
under them.
No, I think-
therefore
That's
the
why they're the
last
bucket
name. That's why
family.
they're the bucket family.
You guys are being ridiculous. There aren't buckets in the bed. They piss and shit on each other's legs.
Oh, jeez.
That's what they do. Come on, let's not be silly here. No jokes. They piss and shit in each other's legs.
It is weird how hungry they are, but they live a long time. There is something good. That's the buckets have that going for
They
them.
say
Charlie should just walk in
good
and be like,
genes.
my grandpa is like 1,000 years old. He
Yeah.
only eats cabbage soup. And look at him.
Yeah.
He's fine.
He
You know?
hasn't got out of bed
Right.
for months, and now he's
Months.
dancing.
Years.
Dancing.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
I like to think he's just faking, and, like, once everyone's sleeping, he just goes and, like, hangs out places.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like goes to the bar.
Yeah.
I do like that. I mean, we'll get to it, but in the original, it's like, what's his name? Jack Albertson?
You mean the actor?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. Yeah, that guy.
It was like very wonderful. Gets up and does this like really like elegant musical number.
Right.
And then in this one, Grandpa gets up and does like a kind of disturbing dance.
Yeah.
Where he seems like he's possessed. Like, I like that in this, when the grandpa's health is better, all of them are kind of creeped out.
Sure.
Like, they're like, what the fuck is going on with Grandpa? They're not charmed by it.
No. This movie doesn't want to charm you.
No, and casting Jack Kelly is a choice, too.
David Kelly.
David Kelly,
Yeah.
sorry.
Why do you think that's a choice?
Because he's a very weird actor.
Sure.
Like, he's got an odd, offbeat energy.
He seems not into it. Like, I don't mean the actor, but like Grandpa Joe.
Yeah.
He's just like not that into
I
it.
mean, he's too old. He doesn't care about anything.
The biggest
That's
thing
how I wanna be
with
when
this
I'm
movie.
old.
Yeah. Like, he's going to have a factory for, like, 2 days and then die.
Sorry.
I feel like also with this movie, once they get into the chocolate factory, they're kind of less interested in Grandpa Joe and Charlie until the end of the movie. The original, like, checks in with them a lot.
The original is more about them being in the factory.
Right. It's
Whereas
like always
in-
through their
yeah.
eyes. They constantly have these side conversations about, like, isn't this amazing, Charlie?
Yeah. This one is very much more just like they're kind of just standing there. But a lot of things in this movie feel that way. But like where they're sort of like, now we have to do this bit. Let's do it. You
Right.
know, like sometimes feels a little perfunctory.
It does.
Yeah.
By not
And then Burton comes alive with the weird shit like Christopher Lee's his dad and it's a
Yeah.
dentist. And then
Right.
you're like, oh, he likes this. But do I like this?
look, the
Do I
movie's
care?
not totally cohesive, but he does feel alive in this. I mean, he's making like exciting choices. You feel like
Much
this
more
movie
so
has,
than like Alice
this
in
movie
Wonderland
has
or whatever's
comic
coming
energy
next.
to it.
Yeah.
You know, in a way that Alice doesn't, a way that Dark Shadows can't sustain.
The Oompa Loompa backstory, I really liked.
There's so much stuff
It's
that
so
I think
weird.
is
It's so
really
weird, but I
fun.
kind of liked
I
it.
like
I
it
thought
too.
it was just silly
Yeah.
to add to the, like, is it in the book?
I think it
It's
is.
it's
Oh, it is
sort
in
of
the
in the but it's
Yeah.
a little different. I mean, they're
Yeah.
always from like
Yeah.
Roald Dahl is canceled. You know, like Darkest Africa. Like, you know, they're always like from a mysterious, far off
There's a
place.
lot of tribalism.
Initially, they were literally black in the book, and
Right.
someone pointed it out to Roald Dahl that it was like so racist.
Yeah.
and he was like, it is racist. I'm going to change it. Yeah. And like everyone was like, see, he changed it. It's like, okay.
I'm glad he learned.
Right.
He was never racist again.
Exactly. It was sort of, it's like, well, he did change it. Okay. Yeah.
But to make them like an identical pygmy species.
Right. Where they're just, whatever.
Yeah.
They're different. They're
Right.
from far away.
But I do like that scene. I like the backstory of like Willy Wonka with the chocolate palace.
That was good.
Yeah.
Like I like the way they sort of build up the character. I mean, they do a really good job of just like all those things not showing his face for the first like 30 or 40 minutes and building up the mythology of this guy. Because I'll say the original maybe like sells you harder on the magic of candy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't discredit how effective that Candyman song is.
Sure.
And just like as a starting point being like, okay, I guess chocolate fucking rules, from the starting of the
Sure.
movie. This movie,
Dahl's good at that too, just in general.
Yes.
He really makes you want that fucking candy.
I remember seeing this movie with my friend Daniel, and when they get to the factory, he just went like, wait, why does everyone care this much about candy? Like, the movie doesn't make as strong of a case for candy as it does for Willy Wonka as, like, this crazy mythic figure.
Yeah.
You know?
It is weird that, like, what if, like, Nestle was like, come to the Nestle factory? I'd be like, no thanks. Like, why? What am I going to see there?
Right. First of all, you think, like, it would just be a boring, sterile,
Right,
like,
be a
robot
factory.
plant.
Sure.
I mean, I'm assuming the Nestle factory doesn't have like Oompa Loompas who sing when children basically die.
Right.
They actually do have that.
But it's
the one-
also-
they actually do.
It's
But
also
are they-
sterile
are
and
they
automated.
Tiny
It's just
little
boring.
like Amish people.
Amish people?
Amish would be good if they were a bunch of Amish.
That would
people.
rule. They're
What if
tiny
Willy
and
Wonka's
big
backstory
beards
was that he was
tripping
like
over
an
their beards?
escaped Amish boy?
Yeah.
And
That's
like
so much better than just like
Exactly.
an angry dentist dad.
he'd been
Yeah.
like, I want to be both an industrialist and a chocolatier, and they're like, those are not Amish things. We're not into those things.
Ding dong. Ding dong.
Okay,
Ding
all right.
dong.
All right. Apologies in advance, pilot,
Just get the door.
for whatever the fuck's about to happen.
Who can plant a rosebud?
God, this thing.
Stem petunias too.
What's your name again?
I think it's
Sealed throughout the
Is he the
field.
flower man or
Dan
something?
Candyman.
Dan
Water it
Candyman.
too. Dan
Yeah.
Candyman can.
It's been a while.
Dan Candyman can, cause he does it with a smile and he loves
Are you here to talk flowers
we
again?
kind of have our own
Hey.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
and
Dan
Dan
Candyman.
Candyman.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like a shameless rip.
but he has a bucket hat instead of
Right.
a top hat,
Right.
and he has a purple jacket.
No, please go
He's
on.
buzzing it.
This isn't killing my momentum, please. It's not like this is a
We're trying
rhythm
to-
and song-based character.
We're trying to kill your
Please.
momentum, Dan.
Keep describing me. At the very least, let's get some merch out of this. Am I right?
Flower like brooch.
Okay, a flower brooch.
Sure.
So, of course, my name is Dan Candyman. I come from a long line of Candyman.
Right. But you pitch flowers.
Well, it's a gig-based economy. I do a
Okay.
couple things.
right? Okay.
I got something embarrassing to show you guys.
Go on.
I'm not here to pitch something to you. I'm here to ask you for help. I did something kind of embarrassing.
Okay.
I'll admit this is safe room, right? The safe
space.
space. My hair has started thinning recently.
Okay.
And I thought, well, let me, work with what I know and try to, seed that field, if you will. So if I take off my top hat here, you can see
Oh, wow.
I have planted flowers on my head. I thought if I had flowers, it would look like hair and I would sort of regain that thickness.
How is the dirt staying on top of your
That's-
head?
I have to reapply it every 10 minutes.
oh, man,
That's-
that's what that bag of dirt is for.
That's all fine.
It's
but
not fine. I'm
pretty
saying this
sure
is a problem.
We're here to talk about erectile dysfunction. If you just take a look.
David, I'm here coming to you,
I mean, I see the
asking
the hair,
you for
yeah.
help.
Yeah.
You're showing me a stapled paper packet
That's right.
where one page is
What are they
all
gonna put? They gonna put pictures of people's penises?
maybe.
Be a move. That'd be a move.
That could be helpful, I guess.
Look, I mean, 25% of new ED cases are guys under 40. I'm going to do whatever I can to get this train to the station.
I'm sorry. This is Griffin butting in here for a second. Yeah, Griff, what's up?
Ben's going to die.
Dan, I'm just trying to track the logic of what happens here. You came in singing a song about flowers. Uh-huh. To the tune of the Candyman.
Can't believe people
Uh-huh.
advertise on this show.
Then you talked about how you had planted flowers on your head, said you weren't here to promote something. You needed help. Uh-huh. And now we've realized that your entrance has synced up with the appropriate time for us to do an ad read for erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, because thanks to science, erectile dysfunction can be optional.
Well, can I butt in here for a second?
Go ahead. Jesus, let's get this over with. Come on.
I do have a floppy dong, so any advice you can give me would help.
Well, you sound like you're one of 40% of men who by age 40 struggle from not being able to get and maintain an erection.
Definitely. Hard 40%. Or should I say soft 40%?
Thanks to 4Hims.
What?
ED can be optional because it'll connect you with real doctors and medical grade solutions to treat ED.
For me?
Well, yeah. I mean, for anyone with issues. You just go to 4Hims.com. There's no waiting room.
Me,
oh, boy.
And you'll be
There's no awkward in-person doctor visits.
World of pure and firm erection.
There's no line.
You'll
you save hours by going to 4Hims.com.
Won't be small.
Oh,
in
boy.
your groin.
There's no waiting room. There's no awkward in-person doctor visit.
Yeah. The products go right to your door. And
if
it's
you're dealing with wet spaghetti,
just answer a few quick questions and you chat with the doctor for a confidential review. And everything gets sent right to your door.
Stiffen it.
All right. You can try Hims for a month today for just $5. We'll get you started for $5 while supplies last.
You don't even need to christen it.
So you can see the website, 4Hims.com, for full details. It costs hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy. Go to 4Hims.
Begin it.
Go to 4Hims.com/blank. That's FORHIMS.com/blank. forhims.com/blank.
Okay, so I leave it blank.
$5.
I leave it blank? What's going what
forhims.com/blank. Ben, get security. Get this guy out of here.
All right, get him out of here. I'm sorry. And take your dirt with you, boy.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Oh. Well, that was one of the cleanest ad reads we've had in a while, right?
I'm fucking dead. Fucking dead.
All right.
You know what I love
Charlie
about
and
that
the
damn
Chocolate
Candyman
Factory.
guy?
Yeah.
It's so easy to get on the same page as him. I feel like he walks in and everyone immediately gets what's going on.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Right. Well, let's start at the beginning of this movie.
Sure.
I think the first 30 minutes of this movie are perfect. I think all the Charlie Bucket family stuff in this movie is perfect.
Pilot, can you weigh in on this?
I love Freddie Highmore. That's
Freddie
most of it.
Highmore rules.
Yes.
The good doctor
He's a good
himself.
doctor.
He's a good doctor.
He's such a good doctor.
And I'll say this, he's a really good kid.
Can I tell you my favorite Good Doctor episode?
What?
It's a two-parter. And the
Have you
first-
watched every episode?
I watched
the
most of the
premise
first
of the Good
season.
Doctor is that he's a good doctor. Is there anything else going on there?
Sometimes he's a great doctor.
Yeah.
But mostly he's a good doctor.
But that's only during Sweeps Weeks. Sweeps Weeks, he becomes great.
In the first part of this episode, they're conjoined twins that they
Okay.
separate. And in the second part, they put them back together. And that's the show.
Excuse me?
Can I ask?
Like they get separated and they're like, what the fuck?
Oh, I think like one was going to die if they didn't like
okay.
reattach.
How
Yeah.
old are they?
I have no idea.
Are they like infants or are they played
No,
by like
they're
speaking
probably
actors?
like 20s, 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like, Stuck on You from Academy Award winner Peter Farrelly.
Exactly, like Stuck on You.
2-time Academy Award winner.
You know what's a game I've been playing recently to myself?
Watching Green Book just every day.
Yeah, well, I can't stop opening the book. No, here's a game I'm playing, and I'd be curious to see where the two of you weigh in on this. Where do you rank Green Book in the Farrelly canon? Because I think it's probably the 7th best movie Peter Farrelly has made, and I only really like 3 Peter Farrelly movies.
All right, so here's
Wait,
what
did they do Shallow Hal?
Yes.
Okay, so it's definitely below that. That's the only movie I can think of right now.
here's some Farrellys. You got Dumb and Dumber.
Mhm.
You got Kingpin.
Good one.
You got There's Something About Mary. So
Great
far,
one.
all of these are over Green
Right.
Book for me.
All 3, those are my top 3.
You got Me, Myself, and Irene. That one's
That's
going over
above
Green
Green
I
Book.
put
Yeah.
above Green Book.
You got Osmosis Jones. Now, they only did the live action, which is the worst part of that movie.
Bill Murray
Osmosis
farting.
Jones is so good though
Yeah.
overall.
The animated sections, which I believe the Farrellys had very little involvement
Little
with, are
oversight.
fantastic.
Yeah. I still put it above Green Book, but we can
Correct.
disqualify it if we want.
That was a very big substitute teacher movie in my
Really?
school.
Because it's
Yeah.
sort of like vaguely sciencey.
Yeah, right. It's like
Sciencey?
educational-esque.
It was that and the Decalogue.
I forgot you went to
What
Catholic
grade
school.
were you?
This was high school.
Either that you were too old to be watching Osmosis Jones or too young to be watching the Decalogue.
No,
I just love that the pitch of Osmosis Jones is like, what if a white blood cell and a cold pill, cold medicine pill, were like buddy cops? Like, that's the pitch.
Yeah, it's a great pitch.
It's a good pitch.
My dad and I were amped for that movie. I remember when they announced it, we were like, first of all, Osmosis Jones is a great name for a movie.
It's a good name for a movie. I think it has that bit where it's like, you want osmosis, you've got osmosis, and they're like, this is the killer moment.
And also the fact that they were like, we're making like a mismatched buddy cop movie, except instead of the divide being racial, the divide is one guy
one is artificial
and one is blood. And they're fighting the flu.
Right.
Lawrence Fishburne plays like a new virus in the movie.
Yes. This is all true.
The other pitch on that movie is incredible, which is, here's the pitch for the movie. It takes place inside Bill Murray.
Right.
They were like, you like Bill Murray? Huge movie star? And they're like, yeah,
and
he's
also,
the lead.
He's like a zookeeper or something?
He's a zookeeper, and he gets sick because he eats a hot dog that falls in the gorilla cage. I believe that's...
Do they explain why he does that?
Because he's
such a slob. He takes a bite of the hot dog, and then it falls into the cage, and it gets all the gorilla germs on it. And his daughter's like, don't, Daddy. And he's like, oh, come on, honey. It's still good. 5-second rule. Then he eats it. And then you see like Lawrence Fishburne tear out of...
Right. And you mostly, I think, just see... when you're cutting to him, just him going like, "Ugh, I don't feel so good."
Right,
Like,
he farts a lot.
Yeah, right.
He's got sort of a weird love subplot with Molly Shannon, who plays his daughter's teacher. Chris Elliott plays his even grosser friend.
Wow, you remember this better than I do. I only remember the cartoon parts.
This movie rules. I was so in favor of doing a Fairley Brothers series someday until Green Book happened. I was like, I'd love to talk about the
could
bad
exclude it.
Fairley Brother comedies. We could be like brothers only.
Brothers only, but then you also have to exclude Dumb and Dumber, which is technically only credited to Peter.
Oh,
what about the sequel?
Interesting.
No, that's both. All right, so we got Shallow Hal, which I have never seen.
It is so bad, and I love it.
I rank it below Green Book, but maybe it is the only one I would rank below Green Book.
I saw that in on a junior high date or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Did you make out?
No.
Okay.
It's like a trash cinema masterpiece. I mean, it's one of those like confounding movies.
Jason Alexander's great in it.
He's got a tail on it. He's got like a vestigial
There's
tail.
Stuck on You, as you know, we were
What's that
talking
about?
conjoined twins.
Yeah.
Definitely above Green Book.
Yeah.
Right. Cher's in it.
Unquestionably. Yeah.
Frankie Muniz is in it. All
Meryl
kinds of stuff.
Streep is in it. Meryl Streep has several scenes in that movie.
There's Fever Pitch, which I have not seen because
Definitely
it sounds
above
disgusting.
Green Book.
Right. There's The Heartbreak Kid, which I have not seen.
James used to watch, my brother James used to watch Fever Pitch so much on cable. And we'd be like, you love this movie. He's like, yeah, I don't love it. It's just like on TV. So I'm just like watching it. But anytime we walked in the room, he'd be watching Fever Pitch. So one year for James's birthday, maybe his 13th birthday, 4 separate members of our family bought him Fever Pitch independently. Because we were like, well, we should get him his Fever Pitch.
He loves it.
No one talked about it with anyone else. He never opened one copy. He was like, I don't like it that much. I wouldn't watch it. I'm not like going to go through the effort of like taking it out of the DVD case.
Wow.
So our family owns 4 copies of Fever Pitch on DVD.
We should put him in like the front hall.
Yeah.
Like framed. All 4 copies.
That's the vestibule. Yeah.
The Heartbreak Kid, haven't seen. Hall Pass, haven't seen.
I rank Hall Pass above. I maybe rank
Hall
Heartbreak
Pass
Kid
is
below.
Owen Wilson and Sudeikis?
Sudeikis.
Trying to
Hall
fuck?
Pass is fine.
Jenna Fisher. It's got some good stuff in it. Richard Jenkins giving an Academy Award worthy performance in the film as a pickup artist.
When doesn't he?
He plays an old creepy pickup
He
artist.
plays like mystery but old.
Yes.
He's
phenomenal.
The Three Stooges. Never
I
forget.
haven't seen that.
I do not like that movie.
I've never seen it.
Some people stand for it. The middle section. Do you know the movie's separated into like 3 shorts with their own like title cards?
Okay.
And
For
one
each of the Stooges?
No.
It's just like 3 episodes.
They're
of
just
the
like
Stooges.
3 Stooges films are always 30 minutes long, so let's just make it 3 30-minute films. But they're 3 different narratives. They don't focus on one or the other Stooge more. The middle one is Mo is in the Jersey Shore. And it's Mo with
Like
Snooki and the situation.
Snooki?
And
Your friend?
My friend Nicole is
it's all of them are in it.
Wow.
Playing themselves. It's just they do another season of the Jersey Shore.
That's like Stuart Little too, where like there's only a month where that's the idea.
No.
Right?
They've been trying
Jersey
to...
Shore is still popular.
Jersey Shore is still popular, but where the studio's like, we should cross this movie over with Jersey Shore.
I mean, if I knew about that, I would have watched
You would,
it.
I can't believe
I'm
you
gonna
haven't
go
seen
watch
it.
We
Just
have
like that
pilots
section.
already renting it on your phone.
The villain of that film is also Stephen Collins.
Okay.
Noted
He's a
child
bad
abuser.
person. All right, we're canceling him too.
Yeah, he's canceled. Hot takes. We don't like him. But the Jersey Shore section, they announced that movie in like 2003. The Farrelly brothers were like, "Here's our blank check project. We always wanted to make a Three Stooges movie." It was going to be
Carrie and the other.
So it went through every single reality show, like Boone, where they would rewrite the script every year and be like, "I guess Mo has to be on Survivor Island now.
Right.
I guess Mo has to be on American Idol. I guess Mo has to do The Real World." And like the wheel landed on Jersey Shore when they got the pickup, but by the time it came out, like they had sort of stopped doing Jersey Shore.
Right.
Weird movie, rank it below Green Book. Everything else I pretty much put above.
What about
Green
Dumb and
Book.
Dumber 2?
Maybe below Green Book. Dumb and Dumber is not good. Or no, it's called Dumb and Dumber 2.
There's also Dumb and Dumber
when Harry
but
met Lloyd.
That's a prequel that they are not involved.
But that film was better than Green Book. Cool. That's been our official Green Book ranking.
That's a Troy Miller joint.
Right. Who used to direct all the MTV Movie Award sketches.
Yeah, and he
Mr.
did
Show.
a lot of stand-up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Charlie
He also directed Jack
Bucket's
Frost.
house.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this first 30 minutes.
Charlie Bucket's house is a great design. I like
Right?
how it looks all melty like a candle.
I do too. Freddie
All right.
Highmore, good doctor, great kid.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Freddie Highmore.
What?
He's in, what's it called?
Finding
Neverland.
Finding Neverland. The year
They
before.
couldn't find Charlie, and Johnny Depp was like, I just worked with this kid. And they, right.
And I remember him in this movie and in
Yeah.
that movie where
Yeah.
he's the cute kid.
Right.
And then I stopped thinking about Freddie Highmore for a while.
Mhm.
And then he came back
As Norman Bates. Yep.
Bates.
Yeah.
And I watched some of that show
Mhm.
because it was so fucking weird.
Uh-huh.
And he successfully, fully became like a creep to me.
Sure.
You know, or like it wasn't like a thing where I'm like, God, he used to be a child actor. How weird. Like if I see Haley Joel Osment, I cannot not think about him in the other movies.
Of course.
With Freddie Highmore, banished the other movies. When I turned this on, I forgot it was Freddie Highmore, and I was like, Bates, he's here, Bates.
I think it's also because of the accent. He doesn't have the accent. in
Right.
Bates, yeah.
Right.
But he's a good doctor now.
I haven't seen
He's
The
America's
Good Doctor.
biggest TV star.
I know, it's
It
weird.
makes no sense.
It's weird, and also the poster is literally just like him
His
in like
face.
a doctor's jacket.
What if a
do you
doctor
call
was
them?
good?
What do they wear?
Lab coat. Yeah.
A doctor's jacket.
Doctor's jacket.
Oh my God, I'm losing my mind.
Ben, you should work doctor's jackets into your fashion line.
So
that's a great
But
idea.
call them doctor's jackets.
here's
Yes.
one question. I know this is like Roald Dahl world, but
Yeah.
like they're English.
Yeah.
They're very English.
Yes.
Helena and Noah are English.
Yes.
But do they live in America?
No.
They're talking about
It's
dollars.
supposed to be like not like either or.
Sure.
Like
it's
the
just
cars
sort of like,
are in the middle of the road instead of picking one side.
No, but I mean,
Oh.
their money looks European.
I guess so.
It certainly doesn't look American.
But when he gets the ticket, they're like, I'll give you $50 for that.
Yeah.
You know, and the other person's like, I'll give you $500.
But when
for
you
that.
see the actual money notes, I think that
It's
was.
got like a queen.
I'm
on
not
it.
really
Yeah.
objecting. I just sort of. am
I think they're
thinking
all supposed to
about
be
it.
British because,
Sure.
I mean, the original they're all American.
You seem like you're really nitpicky about this, David. For some reason, I don't know why.
Shut up. Oh, you're trying to do that. Okay.
Yeah. Why? I mean,
I
why
saw
would
this
you
in
have a
England
frame
where
of
I lived
reference? What?
Huh?
in 2005.
Did you know this pilot?
I had no idea.
Wait,
Tell me more.
Did you win like a golden ticket where you got to live in
Oh,
a queen's
yes, that
house
perhaps
for a
that's
little
what it
while?
was.
But it was just for a little while. They were
Yes,
testing out if you got to take over the palace and then you lost because you were a bad egg.
That would be a good movie. The Queen's like, hello, who shall be the next ruler?
I'm leaving 5 golden tea bags. The first 5 to find them will be the first to walk into Buckingham Palace in over 50 years.
And she does a bit where she like is old, but then it turns out she's young.
Yeah.
You know, I lived in England. I've been living in England for 10 years.
So
at
you,
this
when you
point.
saw this, how much sort of national pride was there in this movie?
There was definitely a lot of interest, but I think it was more just the general kind of like Johnny Depp is in a movie interest. Like,
Right.
Because Johnny Depp was just such a big deal at that point.
Right.
He
Because
does play a lot of English people because he played J.M. Barrie the year before.
Right. He's
in that
Irish
horrible
in that.
fucking
He's got an
movie.
Irish accent.
I don't fucking
What a
know.
weird movie.
Horrible movie.
Weird how everyone
Very
flipped
Michael
for that
Jackson-y,
movie.
too, where he's
Yeah.
like, I love you, children.
Yes.
That was a movie that for some reason my dad gave me a bootleg of that he sent from Iraq. It was a very strange time.
Your father was serving overseas.
Yep.
He bought Finding Neverland and Census.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Scottish. He was Scottish.
Okay, I just
J.M.
remember
Barrie.
him having a bit of a
He has a
brogue.
bit of a brogue.
Anything's possible if you just imagine, Peter.
Oh, God, that movie's so boring.
He's
and it's like the
very
classic, like,
sleepy in that movie. too.
and the class, and he got an Oscar nomination.
Yep.
But the lady is just like, like coughs into a handkerchief and it's like She's dead.
Yeah.
30 minutes from now, she is dead.
That lady being an insanely overqualified Kate
Kate
Winslet.
doing nothing.
Right.
Was she nominated for an Oscar?
She was not, which was weird. She got nominated for lead for Eternal Sunshine was that same year.
Oh, right.
But that was one of those years where, like, yeah, Johnny Depp got in and, like, Paul Giamatti didn't.
Right. Yeah. Yep. You're correct.
Which I don't even like Sideways, but, like, you don't not nominate Paul Giamatti for Sideways if you like Sideways.
You know who'd be a good Willy Wonka?
It's Paul Giamatti.
Giamatti. That'd be good.
He does scowl a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And he's worked with Burton.
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti in the orangutan makeup from Planet of the Apes as Willy Wonka.
Limbo?
With no explanation.
I can't.
But right, if he's just like, yeah, I mean, this factor is stressful. Why don't you kids take it? I don't know.
It's kind of surprising that Giamatti and Burton haven't worked together again. He seems like someone who would become one of Burton's guys. Like in the way that he just like clearly is all in on Missy Pyle at this point.
Right. Well, a good thing to be all in on.
Missy Pyle's
Pyle
great.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. When she wants to date Willy Wonka.
Yes.
Right? That's sort of like a very quiet subplot.
I would watch that rom-com.
Right. Like
Yeah.
Wonka
Right.
and
Missy
Mrs.
Pyle.
Beauregard.
Yeah.
No, she would play herself.
She would play herself.
Yeah.
Of course.
Uh,
okay. The beginning is cute. You think it's perfect? I don't know
think
what
it's
to say to this.
perfect. I think it's perfect. I think it's like perfect, like sort of fairy tale, like sort of. It's equally parts kind of like whimsical and sad.
Sure.
I think in the Gene Wilder version, it's a little too like lifted. In this, I actually like. I feel the struggle of the family.
Helen
I feel
Bonham
like,
Carter and Noah Taylor are overqualified as well, and they're good.
and they're
You know,
really good.
they're sad.
And I like the thing that this movie is doing from the get-go, which feels very Roald Dahl to me, is like going down these corridors of like his father at the toothpaste factory,
Yeah.
Grandpa Joe when he was younger. Like Roald Dahl will go into little side tangents with
Loves it.
great detail.
Loves it.
And so from the moment that's happening in the movie, I'm like, this feels like a Roald Dahl book more than the Gene Wilder film does. This has the structure and the flow of like that. The Chocolate Palace, all that sort of stuff
Yeah.
of just like, these are like a lot of detours to be making early on. But they're building the world out well. You're getting the sense of Wonka as this like mythical figure who no one can get their
Right.
head around.
Yeah.
It's not that he's beloved, which I like, but they're just like, who the fuck
He's
is
weird.
this guy?
Sure.
What's his deal?
He behaves in a weird way.
And why haven't we seen him in so long? Have you seen anyone go in or out of that factory your entire life? What happened? Who works there?
Right.
Like all these sort of mysteries surrounding it. And I like the Noah Taylor, like Helen Bonham Carter stuff is just like they're trying really hard to give this kid a good childhood. Like they're not sad sack.
Couple of flaws.
What?
One, 4 grandparents in your living room sleeping in a bed, pooping and peeing apparently.
A tiny bit depressing.
That they should maybe address.
And a large bit stinky.
Too much cabbage.
Too much cabbage.
Heavy on the
Can you
cabbage.
imagine
Oh,
just
the farts.
poops and the farts?
I know.
I've also never had cabbage.
I've never had cabbage.
What? Wait,
Gross.
I mean, Pilot, not surprising at all. You've never had cabbage either?
No, there's so many things I've never eaten.
Interesting. But like, I feel like cabbage are often sort of like, you know, they'll sneak it into a salad. Coleslaw is
You don't have
cabbage.
sauerkraut?
Oh, it's
Yeah, that's cabbage.
It's
okay.
cabbage.
Well,
It's like
then never
pickled
mind.
cabbage.
Okay, never mind.
All right. You
Yeah.
like sauerkraut?
I like sauerkraut.
You're a
Sauerkraut
crap
on
boy.
a dog with
Sour.
some mustard?
Yeah, I like
Ooh,
that.
baby.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've never had like cabbage though.
You've never taken a whole cabbage.
No.
Bit into it?
I cracked into a cabbage.
I love cabbage. It's good. Roast it. It's good
Oh,
roasted.
yeah. Like some purple cabbage.
Yeah, it's not so great if you like steam it, you know, it'd be a little sad.
Maybe you
but
should get in
roast
that bed with them, farting
Right.
and pooping and
Sure.
eating your cabbage soup.
it. That sounds fine. I
It
love
does-
bed. Love to be in bed.
It's nice that they at least are able to buy cabbage. They're not eating like stone soup. Do you remember like in old like kids books when you
course.
read about people making stone soup?
Sounds great.
Just boiling stones and hoping there's flavor on them.
So I
Maybe
think
the
it's-
saddest concept.
the
in
ticket
history.
stuff is fine. I guess it's just to me. I'm like, you got to do the ticket stuff now, and they do the ticket stuff.
See, this is where I think they excel. I think they pulled this off better. I think all the vignettes of the kids being introduced one by
They're
one
good.
are so
Yeah, I like
funny.
those a lot.
They're good kids.
They're good kids, and I
I mean,
think
they're bad kids, but like they are well.
They're good
acted.
characters.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think they're good characters, and he leans into what's weird about them immediately. Like he identifies a fun comedic game
Sure.
and style, and you're getting so much good characterization here of just like the bit of Veruca Salt walking up to her parents with the ticket with no appreciation.
Right.
just like, I want a pony as well. Like the business as usual. Augustus can't stop eating chocolate even when he's trying to
he's pretty cool actually. Augustus is kind of a cool guy.
Yes.
I would have given a factory to Augustus.
Exactly. He likes
He'd
chocolate
appreciate
a
it.
lot.
He seems like way more into it than Charlie.
Right.
Yeah.
And his mom is kind of nice. Like she has like a normal reaction to
And,
her
her,
son
and his
drowning.
dad is cool. He's a sausage man.
The cut to the dad is so well timed.
And then Violet, who I love,
Yeah.
is played by young Carrie from the Carrie Diaries, right?
Well, young
And Sophia Robb.
Carrie.
Yeah,
Wait,
young
now
Carrie.
can I tell you my favorite thing about the Carrie Diaries?
Please.
In the pilot episode, one girl is describing losing her virginity, and she says it was like shoving a hot dog through a keyhole.
Uh-huh.
And I've thought about that weekly since, and it is so upsetting.
That show's on the CW.
Yep.
I auditioned for that show,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to be in the scene where someone says that line of dialogue for my audition. I have never watched the show,
Sure.
and that
You've
line
never
has
forgotten.
rang in my head for 6 years. I forgot it was from that until just now, because I think about that all the time. Hot dog through a keyhole.
It's such a terrible image.
Putting the sleeping bag back in the case.
Well, you know what's gross about that image?
But
That's
also,
an
is it a
old
raw
Harris
hot dog
Wilson.
or a cooked hot dog?
Either way.
Well,
I
it would
think
be
it's
much
raw.
worse. Yeah.
I think it's raw.
I feel like I've heard when people try to talk about bad sex, them using the analogy of like, it was like trying to put wet spaghetti through a keyhole.
That's like if you're soft.
Right.
Hymns.
Hymns. Back to hymns. No, but that one makes sense to me. And the hot dog through a keyhole is just like, that
It
just
sounds like it would just rip the hot dog into
that's
shreds.
what I was saying. I
Like,
get,
it makes me think of vagina dentata.
right.
Right.
I get a visceral revulsion because I just immediately
It's sort of
picture.
stupid because, like, the human
a hot dog
anatomy
being
is not
sliced.
key-like. It's not
No.
made of metal. It
No.
sort of moves and shifts.
Right.
Not to break this line down more, but I think it deserves it.
I guess the implication is that the peen was too big, right?
I guess.
But
Things
it
are a
sounds
little,
violent.
you know.
Hot dog through a keyhole.
Well, also-
Smash. Smash a
No,
hot
this
dog
wasn't on
through-
Smash. This wasn't a line on Smash.
Oh, fuck. I
Right.
forgot. I thought that
It
was
on
from
the
my
Carrie
Smash
Diaries.
audition.
Didn't you do like 18 million Smash auditions?
I did. They almost cast me on Smash after they had started filming Smash.
Smash, a famously well-run TV show that had no problems.
Right. They were maybe going to restart the show, and I was going to play Deborah Messing's part.
Yeah, you were going to be, you had all your scarves.
What if the scarves could talk? Griffin, can you jump around Deborah Messing's neck and do this read for us?
All right. Keep talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I just think all this stuff is
It's good. It's fine.
and
Good.
it's got a light touch. It
Sure.
feels sort of magical without feeling like
Ben's just shaking his head.
saccharine.
I guess so.
And I think there are a couple really good moments of Charlie characterization. I mean, Freddie Highmore is so preternaturally talented.
He's cute. He's just, Charlie has always bothered me because he has no personality, except that he's nice.
Okay.
Because he has the thing where they're like, we bought you a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you should use the money to do what I pay the rent.
Okay. You saying it that way
Fix some shingles on this house.
makes it sound shitty.
Sure.
Warner Brothers apparently pushed Burton really hard that they wanted Charlie to be some kind of savant or whiz kid.
Really? Like
These are the
a
two
Mercury
big-
Rising situation?
Yeah. Here are the two big notes that Warner Brothers had. Them just applying like modern studio notes to a story that everyone loves exactly the way it is.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
They were like, first of all, Charlie shouldn't have a dad. Because the movie should be about Willy Wonka
Father issues?
becoming his father figure.
You mean kind of like a Harry Potter, like the classic sort of, the kid. Right.
They want Willy Wonka to adopt him at the end of the movie and be like, you're the father I never had.
So there are notes where we want more daddy issues.
Right.
Right. We've only got one layer of let's
We want to resolve
move in a
the
second
daddy
layer.
issues.
We're
and
going to
that-
make this guy a creep and he's going to adopt a child.
Well, I think at that point, Warner Brothers was like, and of course he won't be a creep, right? Johnny Depp won't be playing him like Michael Jackson. He'll be a nice, normal person.
Sure.
And he'll become a nice dad at the end. Like, I think they wanted, like, liar mode Jim Carrey at the end to be like, maybe I should focus more on family.
Right.
I think I would have liked it if Willy Wonka broke up his parents' marriage and then became his dad.
That would be good. If
That would
Willy
be a much better
Wonka,
movie.
if Noah Taylor walked in there instead of the grandpa, Willy Wonka's like, I'm gonna cuck you. Willy Wonka at the cuck factory.
You like my chocolate? Try my cuckolet.
I was just I know that word has been co-opted by maniacs on the
Yeah.
internet, and not that it was a word before that, it was invented by maniacs on the internet who are bad. But what movie did I just see where someone got cheated on, and I was like, this guy only gets cheated on in movies? I have to think about this.
Two notes. One, I find it funny that it's been co-opted by maniacs on the internet because all those maniacs are by using the casual term.
It's Jason Clarke, aka
Oh,
Jason Clarke.
constantly gets caught.
Yes, right. Yeah. Serenity and then the aftermath.
Great Gatsby.
Yes, Gatsby, the original
Yes.
cucking. The great cucking. I don't know. Shut up.
Tom Buchanan, the original cuck. That's what that book said. That's the pull quote, on, right? From Richard
As
Lawson.
Scott Fitzgerald's notes was like, this guy is a beta male. Gatsby is a total alpha.
Wow, we're getting very literary on the episode today.
I was going
Based
to
on a
say,
book?
I like it the maniacs who have co-opted cuck, which is such a casual, like, friendly nickname term for cuckolding, are also like, you're such a fucking cuck, which is a gross thing and certainly not something I watch videos of all the time.
Oh, God. Is that a thing?
Well,
Like
no.
a porn thing?
Yes!
Okay.
That's when it went to cuck, is like, because they were like, cuck porn. And then all those guys started watching cuck porn and then dissing people being like, you're a cuck.
Let's get out of this.
No,
skit.
let's go deeper. I'm driving
sorry.
this duck boat. The wheels just popped out and now we're going into the water.
So they go to the chocolate factory.
Wait, I want to say this.
Okay.
About
So they
cucks.
wanted Charlie to be a whiz kid. I want to say a couple things about cucks. They wanted Charlie to be a whiz kid. They wanted Willy Wonka to be normal. They wanted the movie to become about a father-son relationship. And Tim Burton was like, fuck that. Wonka's a weirdo. It's weird for anyone to behave this way.
Right.
I want the character to follow suit. If he's a man who hasn't talked to anyone else for 10
He's a
years,
recluse. He'd be weird.
he'd
Right.
be weird, right? And he was like, the whole key has to be that Charlie's just a normal kid.
Sure.
Now, in the original, I think it's a little too, like, he's too pure.
Yeah.
The
He's
thing
got
that was,
that blonde hair, too.
the thing that was kind of incredible about Freddie Highmore at this age was he just seemed like an old man in a little child's body.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't, while being a cute kid, he doesn't play cute at all. He's very serious.
Yeah.
So I think when all that stuff comes up of him going like, no, it's my birthday and I want to share the chocolate bar with all of you, you really kind of like, I feel for this kid.
I would be like, Jesus. This kid's
I think
so
he's such a
fucking
good
sincere.
kid. But I think I appreciate that through the performance and the tone of the movie, they don't make the kid overly earnest. He's just kind of logical.
Sure.
And he's got priorities straight.
Does he like chocolate?
He does. He likes chocolate light. He gets 1 bar a year for his birthday.
Yeah. Okay. Weird.
And he makes a little model. His father collects all the misshapen toothpaste caps. All this stuff I'm like really into.
You're into this.
And you're getting the backstory. I mean, a great
How many
Tim Burton-
times have you seen this movie?
I saw it a lot when it came out. I haven't seen it probably in 12 years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You saw it multiple times in theaters?
I saw it multiple times in theaters, and Romley really liked it when she was little. We'd watch it a lot at home.
Mhm.
But a couple really good gags he does early on, and some fun like film rhythm things. One, when Grandpa Joe tells the story about when he used to work at Willy Wonka's factory. He says,
Sure.
I was much younger then, and you hard cut to 20 years
He looks the
earlier.
same,
And he
right.
looks exactly the same.
Right.
Like you're like he's exploring joke potential in this movie,
Sure.
which the later films he gets away from. Like
right.
you feel him actively working to like what's the funniest choice we could make.
This it has lots of funny jokes. The burn ward.
The
for
burn
example.
ward's really funny.
It's funny.
Grandpa Joe, when he gives Charlie the extra money he's been saving. I like their 2 false attempts at the bar before he finally gets it.
Yeah.
When he gives him the money and then falls asleep.
Uh-huh.
I think that's a fun film rhythm cut
Sure.
of Grandpa Joe like falling asleep and then waking up with the candy bar in front of his face. All this stuff is good.
Okay.
Uh,
They get to the factory. I want to talk about this.
he gets the bar,
Yeah, he gets the bar.
wants to sell it,
Yeah.
and his other grandpa gives the speech that's like, they print more money every day.
Yes.
There'll only ever be 5 of these.
Which honestly is really stupid. Like, take the money. Like, they clearly need
They're
the money,
quite broke.
But I also
Well, it's
think,
sort of a 1 in 5 shot at getting a factory.
which they didn't know they were going to get a factory.
That's a good point. They
Yeah.
just thought they were going to get lifetime chocolate.
that's the weirdest thing about this movie is they never present it as a competition. And when people parody Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think they make that up front part of the parody.
Should we talk about Pete Davidson again?
We should. Why has he played Grandpa Joe twice? So,
He's young. He's no grandpa.
but in both the book and the film adaptations, it's just like he's going to let 5 people tour.
Yeah.
And only at the very end, after
He's
the
like,
thing's been
actually,
determined, it was a contest all
air. Right.
Right. A
That's
hair.
true.
So basically, they gave up a bunch of money they needed so he could look at a factory for a few hours.
Maybe get a little tour.
Like how? Like all right.
And also, you have to imagine, they can't know that the factory is as magical as it is. Although Grandpa Joe did have a chocolate bird.
Nestle, a company with a lot of problems, it has factory tours. You can book one.
Of course.
800 Nest.
They bought the Wonka brand and have since shut it down. Do you know there aren't Wonka bars
I
in
know,
production
yeah.
anymore? Because when the musical opened, they couldn't sell Wonka bars.
Sure. Yeah. No,
Nestle's just sitting
I
on
believe we've talked about this. Right. Yeah. Factory tours Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yeah.
Just go.
Where's the closest factory?
Great question.
And you have to sign an NDA.
And the factory, by the way, looks magnificent. Look at that. Whoa. It's a white
It
building.
looks like a Costco.
It looks like a Costco. And weirdly enough, children are murdered there as well. That's the only similarity it has with.
None of the
Wonka
children die.
I do like that this film, they have that weird, like, walk out of the factory.
Yeah. Mike TV is my favorite part of that.
Yes.
It has factories in 80 different countries.
Hey.
The headquarters is in Switzerland, though. Headquarters.
We could go.
Let's go.
I think all this stuff at the beginning is good.
Willy Wonka. This is what I want to get
Right.
to.
It's good, more subtle, sort of save the cat stuff of, like, this is why you care about this kid.
Sure.
I like that David Kelly's kind of demented.
Yes.
Has a weird anarchic energy
Mhm.
as, like, I don't know if this man is, like, losing his mind or not.
Mhm.
And then they get into the factory. Everyone's, like, huddled outside.
Right. And everyone remembers in the original that Gene Wilder did a whole bit.
Right.
So instead, they just do a creepy Chuck E. Cheese Willy Wonka song.
But
I
there's
love
like,
it.
that
so
catches
much
on fire. This is the best thing in the
I love
movie,
it
apart
so
from the
much.
burn ward.
And
I guess it's linked
right.
to the burn ward, though. So it's really like that's my favorite thing
Right.
in the movie.
Because the courtyard is like so gray
Yes.
and bleak. It's
Yeah.
so cold outside. The music becomes very ominous, whereas
Yeah.
like he's been doing sort of twinkly, maniacal Danny Elfman. Now it just becomes very serious. There's so much wind up to them going through the gates closing behind them all walking in line. They're all meeting each other. Everyone's competitive.
Right.
Violet and Veruca Salt have that like best friends for everything, and then
Right,
they cross their fingers. You're like, where's this going? And then they step up, and the thing just opens
this
up.
shitty thing.
And it's this horrible, like the puppets are discolored. They're clearly like sun bleached.
It made me think of you because it's the kind of futuristic design you like. That,
Yes.
like 50s throwback kind of thing.
Right,
And
it's
then
like-
with the shitty wax
It's like a
figures,
World's
too.
Fair, like
Yeah.
a bad. It's a
But
small
like it's
world.
I like thinking about Willy Wonka like designing that,
Right.
like being like this is good.
Well, I like him also thinking like, I don't know, this is what kids like, right?
Right.
Like he has such disdain for the people who would want to come to his factory.
I highly recommend watching just like Chuck E. Cheese animatronic videos where they're all failing on YouTube. They're really funny and they're so terrifying.
Here's the thing.
There's just like stuff melting.
Here's the thing I was thinking about recently. Chuck E. Cheese has taken out all the robot bands. They
God.
don't have robot shows anymore.
Oh, why'd they do that?
Kids don't like robot shows.
It's frightening.
That's their pitch.
That makes sense.
They had Bowling for Soup write a bunch of new Chuck E. Cheese songs, and they tried to make Chuck E. Cheese like more like punk pop, and then they just took out all the robots. So they have a walk around still sometimes,
Sure.
but they don't have the shows anymore.
Okay.
And the Rockafire Explosion has built this like online cult following, which was the original Chuck E. Cheese because there was a documentary made about it. And there are people who have bought the machines and they program them to modern songs, right?
Sure.
What a smart investment it would be to buy one of those robot bands
Okay. and
get a bar in Brooklyn and be like, here's our gimmick.
It's like a fake Chuck E. Cheese for hipsters.
Like for how many like barcade
Sure.
places there are
no one's
in all the major
gone
cities,
the
which are
next
so
level.
popular,
Right.
which is just like, here you go. It's like a club bar, not a bar, a club, but like a bar where
It's
we
a
play
nightclub.
popular songs and we program the robot band to do them, and you can just sit and watch the robot band
Right.
do like Adele or whatever.
I don't want that.
I want that so badly.
Two opinions. Don't want it so badly. Weigh in.
Yeah.
Email us or tweet at us,
Right,
please.
you call it like Professor PT Drink a Lot or something, and it's like you have your own robot band. You reskin them, right? The robots
Weird.
are there, but you come with different.
I'm learning the IRS is after you for this idea, the amount you've sunk into it already. You're pitching this because you're already doing it,
Yeah.
right?
It doesn't sound like a good idea. Anyway, if you want to go to GoFundMe.com.
/ Griffin needs your money. All right. I think that the video is funny. Not the video.
robot
the
show.
robot show is so funny.
And it goes on for so long.
goes on for too long, catches on fire, becomes even more disturbing.
Right, because the
is
chair
all
lifts
funny.
up,
Yeah.
the fireworks are there, Willy Wonka's not there. You're
Right.
like, where the fuck is he?
He's next
Then
to
they
them.
slowly burn. Then the camera pans across all of their terrified faces, and he's just there clapping.
Right.
It's such a good entrance.
It is. And he's got his weird glasses on, and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trying to do, like, what's
What,
Depp's
who does
voice?
he sound like in this? The whole time I was watching it, I was trying to figure out who he sounds like. Because he's doing that sort of like weird children's entertainer thing.
Sure.
Where his diction is like too clean and too upbeat, and he sounds demented and maniacal. And this part, he's like trying to like feel appealing to kids, but he's like reading off of note cards and everything.
Right. He like doesn't know their names.
Right. He's like, practice all of this. They set up the gag immediately that anytime Mike TV says anything.
Mumbler!
Really
That's
funny.
That
there
is
are
funny.
a lot of funny fucking things in this movie.
That's not in anything else, right? Like that's not in the book or anything.
No. And
He's just decided not to hear what that kid says. But the gimmick of Mike TV this time is that he's like a genius.
Yeah, he like has
He's a
some
tech bro.
algorithm.
Right,
to
he
win
like cracked the
tickets.
code.
Right.
Yeah.
He figured out the shipping strategies and like wind
Yeah,
variations.
so Mike should almost certainly actually be the winner. Or maybe like a Mike Violet like duo
Well,
and
no,
like
because if Mike won, he would just sell the factory immediately.
right, he would be like he would run the numbers
Yeah.
and he'd be like, chocolate, no, come on, get out of here. Yeah, I'm not doing this.
Well, I think the weird thing with his characterization in this movie is it feels like, okay, so we know later on he had this moment of like mortality
Right.
kicking in, right? His hair, which made him realize he should get an heir. So he's like, I don't know, what do you do? Find some kids? But he hates kids so much, and he has nothing other than this factory that he like wants the plan to fail. Like it
Interesting.
feels
It's like a producer's scheme. Like he wants them all to die.
I think so he can be like, well, too
Right.
bad, no one else can run
Because
it.
the whole point is like whenever they fall in and then the Oompa Loompas do a song or like
Right.
everyone's like, that seemed planned. And he's like, what are you talking about?
And there's that moment with Veruca Salt where he can't find the key.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
That's
A
my
good-
favorite
a
scene.
good
in the
gag
John.
is
Yeah.
always someone lifting up a giant ring of keys and there's too many keys.
But then
That
they-
is always funny.
They do a couple very pointed cuts where, like, after she falls, you see his very calm face, and then
Right.
suddenly he finds the perfect
Right,
key and
yes,
opens it.
yes.
So I do think his plan is
Yes,
like,
his
I
plan
want
is to murder them
prove
all, or
that-
at least dispose of them all.
right,
Right. You want to prove that right. No one is up to the task.
right.
But like, I mean, we can go through this one by one.
Mhm.
The first thing, very quickly, they
He wants
go
to kill those kids.
yeah, very quickly they go into the main area
Yeah.
with the river. Right. A gloop is just taken down by wanting to eat chocolate all day.
Classic.
So easy. We get that a kid going to a chocolate factory. That's going to be an issue.
There's that weird probe that they keep on cutting to,
Yeah.
hovering above them.
Yeah.
And every time they do it, just kind of like has ambient noise. Like,
Yeah.
Is it all CGI?
Well, I think
this
some of
set's real.
The
That
set
set-
is real, but I
this
mean,
set is
like,
real.
but like the river must be fake or at least
No, the river
embellished,
is
right?
real because they ruined like several incredibly expensive camera lenses because they fell in the river. That was like a big story when they were
Stop
filming the
dropping
movie.
cameras in a
Right.
chocolate river.
They lost like $350,000 worth of camera lenses because like very special, like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
no, I get you.
handmade.
But it looks great.
It looks great. Yeah, I mean, this is like the best stuff in the factory because it's still practical.
Well, no, but the Veruca set is good.
Yeah.
That's a good
Oh,
set.
you're right. Every room when one of the,
The
kids
rooms
gets
are
thrown
good.
off.
The TV room is good.
Yes.
And then what's
The Veruca room with the nuts
Violet's?
is great.
The squirrels.
That
are
one's
so good.
The squirrels.
I love the
Squirrels are
squirrels.
fucking
You know that
Yes.
the squirrels are real too.
Really?
Yeah, they
They
train
look
them.
good.
They
They
train
look
them.
good.
They were like,
Squirrels are super smart.
they train them from birth. They were like, we have to get 40 squirrels
Right.
and train them from birth, so all they know how to do is this gesture.
That's really funny. Isn't the thing is like squirrels are totally smart. Their only problem is that they are obsessed with nuts and
Right.
food and like all of their intellect is
Yeah.
devoted to it. Like we could probably get they could do other things.
No, the squirrel, when it throws the nut away, that's
Yeah.
CGI, and when they all crawl on her, that's CGI.
Sure,
but
sure,
every
sure.
time they're checking the nuts,
That's some real squirrels.
real fucking squirrels, which
squirrel-
is demented. Like, I like Tim Burton having the money to make this movie and being like, I'm going to do weird Willy Wonka shit.
I like
Sure.
to think
Like,
that
I'm
he
going to
trained
say,
them
like,
himself.
train the squirrels. Yes.
Wait, he's just
I like to think that Tim Burton is just like a master squirrel trainer and just no
he's
one
got
knows.
like a whip.
But that's what it feels.
The squirrels are like running in a circle.
But, like, if Tim Burton had a mansion like this and all the money in the world, he would lock himself in and be like, I don't know, let's train some squirrels today. In the same way that Willy Wonka wants to, like, create cotton candy sheep.
A
you know?
squirrel once broke into my mom's house, tearing
Fuck,
through.
it's retired. Bleep it out, man.
Bleep it out.
Bleep it out.
By tearing through the screen, like, you know, on her window, right?
Mhm.
Took a whole jar of Skippy, a closed jar of Skippy, didn't know what to do, I guess panicked or something, ran into her bedroom, ripped the jar open somehow, which is impossible. Like, I don't know how a squirrel would, didn't unscrew it, just ripped it open, ate whatever it could, and then ran out and left the Skippy jar in her bedroom.
Rather than rely on CGI, Burton wanted the 40 squirrels in the nut room to be real. The animals were trained every day for 10 weeks before filming commenced. They began their coaching while newborns, fed by bottles to form relationships with human trainers. The squirrels were each taught how to sit upon a little blue bar stool, tap, and then open a walnut and deposit its meat near a conveyor belt.
That's incredible.
Insane.
What a waste of everyone's time and money.
But that's like the meta narrative to this
what happens
movie.
to those squirrels now?
They don't know how to do anything else.
What do they do?
I don't know. They were signed for multi-picture deals. They had sequel clauses.
I'm sure Tim Burton just adopted them all.
Yeah, he probably does just have a squirrel room. I love it's like fucking Fitzcarraldo stuff where it's like Werner Herzog drove himself crazy trying to make a movie about someone driving themselves crazy.
The Chocolate River has 200,000 gallons of faux melted chocolate in it.
And they had to get the right concoction where it was like loose enough that they could paddle through it, because when it was thicker, then the paddle wouldn't go through the chocolate. They lost camera lenses. Like, all this shit I love. And then anytime they're in the elevator, I'm like, or in the boat, when they're just in like CGI goop land.
Yeah.
The CGI chocolate looks terrible.
Yeah.
Like whenever they're floating in it, it looks like CGI water. They've only kind of cracked, I feel like, in the last 5 years. And at this point, it just looks like diarrhea.
Yeah.
The color is kind of weird too.
Maybe it's from the bed.
Maybe it's from the bed. There's a pipe at the bottom of the bed that goes all the way to the factory.
Anyway, what my point was, Gloop taken down by his own greed. Then they sing a song. The best song of the Oompa Loompa songs?
I think all of them are bangers. Now, we should...
I like Mike TV's the best.
Mike TV's is the other competitor to me. Those are the best two. I think the Violet and Veruca songs are just okay.
The Mike TV one is the rock one?
Yeah.
I think, no, the Veruca Salt one's my favorite. The weird, like, hippy-dippy one.
Yeah, I like it when it's, like, high energy. Like, I like them to be running around.
Well, what about the Violet one? Is the chewing gum.
That's pretty good, actually. I just think I'm so mad about Violet. Like, they fuck her over so hard.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, she rolls.
And she's played by young Carrie, as we pointed out.
I'm sorry, young Carrie.
Young Carrie. And Ben looks like he's in a coma right now. And what happens? They take her to see some chewing gum.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to eat the chewing gum.
She's
I love chewing gum.
a champion chewer.
And rather than him being like, definitely, you're not allowed to do it. He's just like, oh, don't do that. Like, you're presenting her with chewing gum.
I like that.
And it's poison.
I like that they make Violet this like example of like the American obsession with exceptionalism.
Yeah.
And Missy Paul's her weird robotic stage mom who clearly wishes she had been a star. Like, she tries to point out her own baton photo.
That's the joke, right?
And
She's
also,
like a pageant girl.
Right. Who's now like forced it onto her daughter.
Yeah.
But that's even funnier when the pageant she has is just chewing gum.
But like, Augustus Gloop wants to eat too much chocolate.
Right.
Okay, I'll admit it.
Yeah.
He could maybe stop eating
like,
the
Violet
chocolate.
hasn't done anything wrong.
One handful of the river is enough to get that it's a river of chocolate.
Right. Mike TV's an asshole. Veruca Salt's a brat.
Mike TV we're going to get to.
Violet has no sense.
Veruca she's bad. Like, I mean, Veruca's bad enough. We all agree.
Violet has no sense.
I think Violet has poor impulse control.
But it's one stick of gum.
It's one time. I mean, you go like the first real mistake she makes is not listening to Willy Wonka when he tells her to spit out the gum. But you've also set up in the movie that
it's gum, though.
She would want to get back to her main gum anyway.
Exactly, but like Augustus falls in a river.
Yeah,
you would know. Be safe around rivers. Dangerous. Someone should be very explicit. Like, gum. I know that gum normally is just gum. This one will swell you into a blueberry.
He says everything but that. He does say there's a thing we haven't worked out.
You know what I mean? The other things are like, Veruca is like, don't like challenge squirrels and they're like squirrel primacy.
Sure.
Mike TV asks to be teleported. Like, these are things children should not want.
Right. She
just wants gum.
She eats candy.
Yeah.
You're saying.
She went to a candy factory.
Right, but he told her not to eat it. The songs here are all the Roald Dahl songs. They're the lyrics.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, they are.
Okay,
yes. Yeah, Roald Dahl gets lyrics by credit for this entire movie. They're all his songs, which I don't know how you folks dealt with this when you were a child, but I would always find it like very
Yeah, you're right there.
I feel a lot of stress when I got to a song portion of a book like this.
What do you mean when it's in italics all of a sudden and it's like line breaks
And
and
you're like, what's the tune
yeah,
for
right.
this?
Do I sing this? What do I do?
I'm no learner in low. Like, how do I, like, what's the sort of, what's the jam here? What's the beat?
Basically, in my head, they were all just like Gregorian chants.
That's what I would always think. Or they just
that would be good. If they like come out like that. That'd be good.
Or I just always like imagine like shanties in my head. Like they'd just be kind of like shaggy shanties. And then they make this announcement like Danny Elfman is going to take the Roald Dahl lyrics. They're not going to use the songs for the Gene Wilder film. They're going to use the original songs.
Right.
And it was like, oh, cool. And then he just made the weirdest choice with every set of lyrics.
Go on.
Well, he just decided to reinterpret each one through a different, very specific genre that was not the genre that those lyrics were written to be sung in by any stretch of imagination.
He
turns them into like Oingo Boingo songs and does all the vocals himself.
That's what I was going to say. The weird thing is that he sings them all himself in different voices.
Right.
The only thing that really bothers me about the songs is that the voice keeps changing.
But that's
I don't like that.
That is what Oingo Boingo's like. Like his voice changes.
That's not like the greatest defense I've ever heard mounted.
I'm not saying in defense of the songs. I'm saying one of the weird aspects of this movie.
I think I just struggle with all the Deep Roys being identical, except that their voices sometimes are high pitched or low pitched.
The narrator, Jeffrey Holder, one of them sounds like Jeffrey Holder.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like Burton and Elfman, very close collaborators. The one falling out they had was over Nightmare Before Christmas because he felt Burton didn't fight hard enough for him to be the voice of Jack. So it's his singing, but not his speaking.
Right.
And this feels like him being like, so you'll let me do whatever the fuck I want with these songs?
And Burton's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Right.
And they're working on Corpse Bride at the same time. I think Elfman was really busy.
Those songs you can tell are like the work of someone who's putting more focus on
something else. Yes.
Yeah. Ding dong.
Oh, for like another ding. Uh-huh.
Ding dong. Ding dong.
Yeah, bring him in, or whoever. Bring this door ringer in.
Oh my God! Look at this. It's a little Oompa Loompa therapist.
You mean like from the movie? There, that's in the movie.
Deep Roy. He just got rolled in.
He's got like glasses and he's sitting in a chair.
A little book. David, do you want to say anything to him?
Life can be stressful between work, family, and everything between. It's hard to find time for yourself.
Okay, he's gesturing. Like, go on.
We all need someone to talk to, like a person who can support us through rough patches or even the everyday ups and downs of life. And that's where Talkspace comes in.
Okay, he's doing another go on gesture.
This had to be a ding dong.
Yeah, what do you mean? Of course. What is it? You want to knock on the door?
Talkspace.
What's the other option?
Talkspace Online Therapy makes taking care of your mental health more affordable and convenient than ever before. It gives you preferences for whatever you want to do. You give Talkspace preferences for whatever you want, and they'll match you with one of 3,000 therapists in the same day.
He's nodding his head, and then he's writing very seriously in his book, like in a way that makes you feel kind of self-conscious, like maybe you need to open up more.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can send them unlimited text, audio, picture, or video messages from anywhere at any time, and you'll hear back daily, 5 days a week.
He's scratching his chin, and his tone is sort of like the tone of his body language is like you're deflecting.
Well, all you need is a computer or an internet connection or the Talkspace mobile app.
Right, and then he's sort of like holding his hands out, like you're so close to the breakthrough. Get to the big point. He's saying, like, come on, let's put one and one together.
No matter what you're going through, you're not alone. Join more than 1 million who feel happier with Talkspace.
Such as
Ben.
And
Ben Hosley.
And now he's shaking his head. He's nodding vigorously because he's like,
Talkspace,
this guy is being honest here.
Yeah, I use it. It's great. It made it so easy. I just need to talk to somebody, and I can do it from my home and complain, and they have to listen.
And he looks kind of touched. Like, he does truly look kind of touched, and it doesn't feel like it's just, like, part of the job.
All right. Well, look, Talkspace has more than 3,000 licensed therapists who are experienced in addressing the challenges we all face. So to match with your perfect therapist for the fraction of a price of traditional therapy, go to Talkspace.com. Make sure you use the code CHECK to get $45 off your first month and show your support for this show. This show.
He's writing in his notes that he's trying to figure out if you mispronouncing therapist was some sort of Freudian slip.
Might have been. I have no idea. That's check and Talkspace.com.
Okay, and he's holding up a sign that
$45
says
off.
You have to write them a check. He's handing you a personal
Promo
cashier's
code
check.
Promo code check.
Promo code check. Okay, put the check away. I'm gonna roll him out of the studio now. It's rare that we have a ding dong that isn't on mic. You know?
Yeah.
I had to translate everything he was doing. He was a little Deep Roy therapist.
Deep Roy's great in this movie.
He's so good.
Paid $1 million.
He was paid $1 million. Do you know this, Pilot?
I love Deep Roy.
One of the best salaries of all time.
I mean, he worked for it.
That's what I'm saying. But like so often, a guy like this, you're like, and they paid him like $5,000. Like you hear the horrible story of how little they got paid. And Tim Burton was like, fuck you, you're paying him $1 million.
Deep Roy also wanted the Augustus Gloop song to be like a Bollywood number. He suggested that himself.
Yeah.
And then, yes, we've got Veruca Salt's kind of like a 60s pop thing. And Violet's like a funk song, I guess. What's going on with the Violet
I
one?
can't remember Violet.
Say, do it again.
Chewing gum.
And
they're up in the
Mike
rafters.
TV is like a hair metal kind of thing.
Yes. That's
And a
my
weird
least favorite
Beatles
one.
reference.
Right,
Yep.
right. There's no Beatles.
Yep.
His performances are so good in this movie.
Yes.
Like anytime it's a bunch of Oompa Loompas on the screen, you can choose to focus on any one.
Sure.
And he's
They're all
giving a
doing stuff.
distinct, specific performance on that Oompa Loompa. You think about how much time he had to spend in like a green screen space.
But imagine the parents leaving the factory.
Yes.
Going to the press being like, what happened in there?
Yeah.
And then being like, well, our children were won by systematically
Right.
attacked.
Picked off.
Exactly. And then every time it happened, rather than them dealing with it,
They did
the
something.
factory workers assembled and sang joyously of what had just happened.
Well, this is why Charlie and the Chocolate Factory became so big culturally, and the Willy
I
Wonka
know,
movie.
Roald Dahl's crazy.
Because,
you know,
well,
like-
but also like it birthed 1,000 sketches and stand-up routines and even barroom conversations. Like, here's my fucking question: why didn't they just do this?
Right. But here's the other thing. I think it's also like every kid's like first horror movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where it's like
Right.
you're learning that sort of thing of like every death is inventive and different and all of
And
that.
it does
Yeah.
sort of have that slasher movie structure
Yes,
in that way,
100%.
where it's like their sins are directly leading to their deaths. It's like
Right.
Friday the 13th, where it's like, oh, the kids are fucking, someone's going to get murdered.
Right.
And how's he going to murder him this time? You know? I do think that's the thing that kids like about it. He leans into it hard here.
Of course.
They directly imply that Wonka has planned all of this.
Right. Totally.
When they say, well, how did they know to put his name in the songs that seemed rehearsed and choreographed? And he's like, improv, it's a parlor trick,
Yeah.
which is funny.
It's funny that he roasts improv. Yeah, that is funny.
He roasts improv.
Here, I got to you guys talk.
And you know that Willy Wonka never made Lloyd Night.
Nice callback.
I had to make that joke before David went to the bathroom. So where do you stand at this point in the movie? Like, what are you liking? What are you disliking?
I mean, I enjoy basically the entire thing in the factory.
Yeah.
I like the way the factory looks, and I also hate the children, so it's great to watch bad things happen to them. And the only thing I don't like too much is Johnny Depp's performance for like all the obvious Michael Jackson reasons, because like he does just like remind me of him, and it's so weird. And
So
I
that's
don't
the
get
main
it.
thing for you.
Yeah.
Have you watched Leaving Neverland
No.
yet? Okay. So I watched it, and then I went down a really ill-informed rabbit hole of watching old Michael Jackson interviews, which now just feels so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
They feel like Freddy Krueger doing Letterman or something, and like making jokes about like, why would I murder kids? I love it when they show up in my nightmares.
Yeah, I don't ever want to watch this.
No, they're terrible. So I definitely got like creeped out watching Depp in this. Relieved that he hates children. Like feeling a real palpable sense of physical relief every time he pushed a kid away.
Yeah.
But this kind of makes more. I don't even know if I want to open this box.
I would say no.
Yeah. There was like the public like defense of Jackson that was accepted, where it's like, well, he never had a childhood. So all this weird stuff is just because he never had a childhood. Like he didn't develop properly. And I watched this movie and I'm like, this movie's bug nuts banana shit. But I am more readily believe that someone would turn out this way if they didn't have a childhood.
Well, yeah, like the way they set up Willy Wonka makes sense.
Right, that he would like surround himself with the thing he didn't get to do as a kid, but be a total misanthrope.
Yeah.
As opposed to
And
like
also like the way that he distrusts other kids because like he didn't have like childhood
he
friends.
distrusts kids and parents.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, who doesn't distrust
See,
parents?
I
Yeah.
also see it as like, yes, Michael Jackson didn't have a childhood. It's the genius rule, where
Right.
I feel like when people like ascend to a certain level,
Right.
and we like consider them geniuses, they have
Right.
mastered their works of art.
Right.
They can get away with being bad to their family.
Yeah.
Like cheating on their significant
Right.
other. I feel like so Michael Jackson, I feel like it was just more like we just all accepted it as a society.
Well, and I was about to say Johnny Depp. Michael Jackson has the same like Roman Polanski like full flush where it's like, oh, he did really fucked up things and also really fucked up things happened to him and he made great art.
Right.
So people are like, well, I don't know. What can you say? How would you process these
What
things?
are we talking
But
about right
Willy
now?
Wonka
All the bad stuff.
fucked over the town.
Right. Like that's what I like is
Where
that
are we?
this is what I
I'm
like.
sorry. Which town?
He closed a factory
Oh, you
and
mean
everyone
sure,
lost
sure.
their
Jobs.
jobs.
I like
And
that
he replaced them with Oompa Loompas.
I like that they don't
So
treat
really, he
him
created some jobs.
right.
He did, yeah. And he saved like a whole jungle colony that's being besieged
He
by
basically
monsters.
just like fired like the town and gave jobs to immigrants, which like I support.
Okay.
Tables just got turned on you
Turned.
guys.
Good take.
Right.
Turned hard.
So I guess what I'm trying to say in a very
Hymns?
messy way.
Should we do hymns?
What? Come on.
He said hard, I think.
Oh, I got it.
I don't
Okay,
know.
now Ben's going to the bathroom. Or no, he's just
God
doing a
knows what
victory
he's
lap.
doing. Oh, the door's open.
What I like
Oh,
about
okay.
this movie is we're talking about like the genius exception kind of thing, right? That like all this Michael Jackson conversation is circling around that like, he was a genius.
Where it was like, oh, well, he's right. There's a reason for this, and that's why he
Everyone
wants to do it
tries
with
to
the kids.
justify
and-
it.
yeah.
Right. So it's like a two-pronged thing where it's like, A, I think people don't want to believe that someone's capable of doing such awful things,
Sure.
such as sending kids down
I think
a
these
squirrel
are 4
chute.
attempted murders.
Right.
No, I know none of the kids die,
Right.
but I think you could go to court and be like 4 attempted murders.
then the-
and
But really,
kill
like
Yeah.
he's not trying to murder them; it's the factory that is.
Right. It's-
Technically,
he-
he's like clean.
It's that kind of Rube Goldberg thing where he's
Yes.
like, I didn't do anything.
Right.
And it's like,
they did it
didn't
to
you
themselves.
plan this?
Right.
Like,
And didn't you have full musical numbers in the chamber ready to go?
Not at all.
My point
And
is,
someone like finds sheet music, and he's like, "Fuck,
God damn it.
I'm
They
going
find
down."
his demos on his
Right.
iPod. These are clearly like scratch tracks. Like you've been working these out.
I don't know what those are.
You brought Phil Spector in to produce them? It's like, I've never met the guy.
Do you try like all the Oompa Loompas as like a class action kind of, or is it just one?
they didn't do
yeah, I
anything.
feel like
They
the
just,
Oompa Loompas are more to blame if they have the songs. Like
They do
Willy
the
Wonka
song.
can
they
claim
did the
ignorance.
songs. He can claim
Right.
ignorance. Maybe he's kind of smart in that way that he
Right. He just
passed the
layers
buck.
of protection.
He didn't do anything except struggle to find his keys.
Right.
The point I'm
We
making
should
is,
send him to The Hague.
the point I'm making is,
Mm-hmm.
I like this movie because
You like this movie?
I do. But because this movie doesn't try to build a genius rule around Willy Wonka, there's this sense of like Charlie's really sort of intrigued by him because he lives so close, because his grandpa worked there, because it's this mystery. The other kids don't seem to give a shit about Willy Wonka. They like the idea of winning and they like the idea of the factory.
Sure.
And it doesn't feel like anyone's excusing Wonka. The only person in the world who seems to like idolize Wonka other than Charlie is his father. Keeps all the clippings.
Right.
In the Gene Wilder version, there's this mythology, even though they haven't seen him in so long, of like, this is the greatest man in the world.
Right.
The Candy Man can.
Right.
He exists just to make children happy, which is the Michael Jackson bullshit of like,
Right,
he
right,
couldn't have hurt
Totally,
us.
Totally.
He loves peace on earth.
And
And this movie's like, this is this weird guy. No one knows what's going on with him. And then when they meet him, he's an asshole to them
right.
and he tries to kill them all. And the whole time they're like, I don't know what the fuck is up with this guy. Like, they are not charmed by him at all. He is not charmed by them.
Yeah.
It feels like he wants the tour to be
Well,
over
I
with.
also just think it's good to add the thing where, like, at the end of the book, it's like, you won, you get the factory now. And Charlie's like, great. And it's
I
like, great,
love
let's
that
get
he
in the
says
fucking
no.
elevator. And right here, Charlie's like,
Fuck this.
on balance, you don't seem so good.
Yeah.
Like, you seem 5
You
out
seem
of 10.
fucked
6.
up, right? And
Yeah.
he's like, you can't bring your family with you. And he's like, well, then what? I end up like you?
Yeah, right.
You weirdo with a Prince Valiant haircut?
Good.
Like, I like that this movie is like a guy who's like, look at me, I turned out fine. I'm eccentric. And everyone's like, no, you're not okay. We don't like you.
Well, it's also sort of like,
No chocolate
Charlie's
justifies
only-
this behavior.
Charlie's only accomplishment is being the last one alive.
Right.
You could keep taking him into rooms and
Right.
seeing if they kill him. I mean, you could do this forever.
But this movie's like a weird rebuke to the genius exception.
okay.
And also,
Exemption.
all of the stuff he's made recently
Yeah, it's
is
bad.
crazy and bad.
Right, they're like, it's convoluted. He's wasting tons of money and like R&D, like time and energy on shit that no one wants to fucking eat.
Go on.
I like all of that. I think this is a good take. And I think people didn't like it when it came out because they were like, oh, they've ruined Willy Wonka. The original was so pure. And it's like, but it's fucked up if you look at it. That's why everyone always did comedy routines about it. And this movie's like, yeah, we're going to make a movie about how it's fucked up.
Yeah, except but then this movie's like, but really, if his dad just like gave him a pat on the back, he'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a little
easy. Yeah,
it's a little neat.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you wanted to be wrestling with this sort of like, hey, these geniuses are not so great. And then Charlie's like, what's up with you? And he's like, I don't know. My dad was like kind of
there's
a
a
jerk.
whole stretch of like
His
Charlie.
dad wasn't even that much of a jerk. He was
Not
like,
really.
don't eat candy.
Don't eat candy
It was, like,
all the
good
time.
advice.
You
Right.
have crazy braces. Go on.
No, I agree with all that. Look, they tie the bow up
It's a little
too
neat.
quickly.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that it's like he needed to connect to other people, which they make that leap, and it's a pretty big leap.
He's connected to the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not great conversationalists. They're
They're quiet.
great performers.
They're quiet. Yeah. Yeah.
I do love the jungle exploration scene.
Right. Mhm.
I just like this idea of like Willy Wonka like traveling around the world with like a machete.
That could be the prequel. Willy Wonka Origins with a machete.
Okay, so Violet, you're upset that she gets taken down.
She gets
because she
screwed
should
over.
win.
She's good.
She's good.
Yeah, like Violet.
They tried to do this practically. Apparently, it looked terrifying, so they did the CGI like last
Right.
minute.
Right.
Because the CGI looks a little wonky.
Yeah, it doesn't look
And not Wonka.
Oh, I just remember we never pointed out the TV kid's dad is like perfect.
Yeah. Oh,
He plays it so
Adam
perfect.
Godley.
one of my
He's
favorite
so
performances.
he's
Adam
like
Godley.
got that terrible comb over.
Great British theater
And
acting.
he's just like he just is so like the dad who is not disciplining his kid.
I believe he is one of the giants in BFG.
He is?
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
But out of all the parents, he's the one that stays in my mind.
Him and Missy Pyle are really strong. What's his name?
Oh,
Fox?
Missy Pyle, yeah, right.
James Fox. He's
Right.
classic.
He's good. Yeah.
He's a classic English guy.
Right.
English
And-
stick up his butt
right.
guy.
And Augustus Gloop's mom is like a similar, just sort of classic German woman.
Franziska Treugner.
Yeah. But I like they found a real German kid.
Yeah.
The German kid did his own dubbing for the German version of this movie.
That's great.
English was his second language. But this feels like an area, especially if you're Tim Burton, you get to make a $150 million Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie after Johnny Depp's become a big movie star, where like if you go on the Wikipedia, they have all these like other actors who are considered for the part, for every part, because you can see that Warner Brothers would have been like, why isn't Anthony Hopkins Grandpa Joe?
Sure.
Like, why aren't all the parents big movie stars?
Yeah.
And I like that he just like hired like good actors.
That's fair.
Like he got good theater actors. He got like, not very famous people to play all the grown-ups in the film.
They shot it all in England.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Helena Bonham Carter is the other big name in this movie, and it's because she is the mother to his children at this time.
It took 6 months to shoot.
Yeah.
Because of British child actor laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's always the mother of his children.
Yes, you're right. She will forever be the mother of his children. That's a good point. I misspoke.
They have 2 children.
They have 2 children.
But they're not together anymore.
They're
No.
not together anymore. When they were together, there were all those things where it's like, oh, their houses are separate, but there's a tunnel underneath connecting
Which
them.
I love. I think that's an ideal situation.
I've been thinking about that a lot, too. I'm like, maybe that's how I want to get married.
Are there bats in the
Or
tunnel?
just like a
Probably.
Unispan.
Yeah. And you're like, we live together, but also like, we're weird people and we probably need our own space, right?
And maybe they could have like, there's like shoots where
Yeah.
they communicate. Like, what do they call those?
Oh,
the
yeah.
old-timey shoots.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it just sounds nice. Like them living in the English countryside.
You 2 are nuts.
He has this weird little gothic manor, and she's
Sure.
got her quaint, crooked Charlie Bucket
They
house.
didn't live in the countryside. They lived in Hampstead. I remember where they lived.
Really?
Yeah.
You ever go there?
No, my
vacation?
friend's mom was her agent.
What?
Yeah. So I knew of their place, but no, I never went.
Do you think at like this period of time, Helen Bonham Carter's agent like calls her and is like, "Hey, so good news, we got an offer for a film for you. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So Tim Burton's attached to direct." Like, do you think every time there's a new Tim Burton film, she calls
There's
her?
like a formal.
'Cause
They
you can
want you to
imagine-
read for this.
What is this?
Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
No, because I could imagine Tim Burton being too uncomfortable to like ask his like common wife to.
You mean common law wife?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
You don't mean his common.
I left out his exceptional
Tim
wife.
Burton famously
bitch.
married a commoner. Yes.
His exceptional common law wife. I left out the worst word to leave out. I can imagine him not having the courage to be like, honey, would you be in this movie?
It'd be funny if you called her his law wife.
His
I'm thinking
law
of all
wife.
the words you could drop.
Yeah, law wife would make more sense.
That's kind of like your doctor jacket.
Hey, HBC, it's Fran calling. So we got an offer for you to go on tape for, what is it, Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd. This is a really hot project. Tim Burton is attached. Like, I just think that's probably how it happened for her.
That sounds funny.
I don't know.
Do they really have a tunnel?
They had a tunnel.
It was like some kind of connection.
There was, because they were separate properties on the same land.
What if that is how relationships always work? That was just the social norm,
They
where it's
should.
like you guys
It
are
makes the most sense.
together, but you live all the way across town. This is going to be a big tunnel, like where it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like the poor development guys have to be like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, I don't know
how
what.
it should work.
Good, great.
Personal space.
Uh huh.
You know?
Veruca
Salt with the squirrels. I mean, we talked about this a lot, but this rules.
I love Veruca Salt.
Yeah, the nuts are great.
Yeah.
You love Veruca Salt.
I love, like, not as like a character, but like I love that she's like such a psycho bitch, basically.
She's pretty bad.
And
Yeah.
it's great.
This one, I mean, she looks maniacal.
Yes.
She looks really good.
Whereas,
yeah.
the Wilder Veruca Salt is kind of more of a brat. This child feels like a sociopath.
Right, because she won't listen. I like it whenever he tries to reason with her. He's like, you already have all this stuff. And she, like, she dials up to, like, full psycho mode.
Right. She feels like she's going to murder her parents.
Yeah, like the thing. It feels like she's gonna like murder the squirrels. Like she doesn't
Right.
want a squirrel for a pet. Just like I'm gonna do an experiment on it.
Yes.
Basically.
Maybe she's Elvira.
Uh-huh. She's
From
like
Tiny
Joan
Toon
Cusack
Adventures?
in The Addams Family. Addams
Yes.
Family Values.
Yeah.
Or it's like if you cross her once, she sets the whole house on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like
Imagine having a kid and it turned out to be like a good son situation.
Yes.
That would be rough. No one talks about that enough.
well,
Yeah,
that's
You worry about your kid having like asthma or an allergy or something, but what if they were a Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son?
David. It sounds like you need to talk about Kevin.
Hey,
It
what if
sounds
it's a
like-
Kevin?
Right about
like the
now.
doctor's like, we've run some tests, everything's fine except 47% chance of a Kevin situation. keep them away from the bows and arrows.
I wish
My parents were very upset with me flying a kite at night.
Here's Ben.
And I learned that that's not the time you do that. But I like night kites. Isn't that
This
in
is
the
one of
movie?
those
Isn't that in the
classic-
movie? He flies a kite at night? Am I
Yes.
thinking of the right thing?
Yeah.
Yes. Where I'm just like, what is happening?
Flying a kite at night.
Yes, night kites.
Night kites. I like it.
Okay, but here's the problem with
It's
this.
creepy, apparently.
Ben, here's the problem with
What?
this bit. You have told much worse stories about things you did as a
Right,
child.
I was like,
That's
did
true.
Ben actually fly a
Right,
kite at
we
night?
cannot suspend our disbelief enough to imagine that that's the thing that concerned your parents.
Ben,
Hey, David.
this episode is brought to us by Mubi.
Yes, which is a great streaming service.
Yes, it's a curated streaming service.
Thank you.
They bring you exceptional films from around the globe, and they've got a little twist on the streaming service concept, which is every day they add a new movie. Could be like a classic film, could be a cult film, could be a new film.
Right.
They've got all kinds of stuff that's very, very selective. And then every day they lose a movie. So there's always 30 different films to see on Mubi. But, you got to catch them within a month.
Keeping that selection fresh.
Keeps it fresh. It's hand selected. It's kind of like one of those like artisan sandwiches. It's like hand cut with like fresh sliced ingredients.
You're
Is that
in
a good metaphor?
You're in good hands.
You are in good hands. And it is great. Here, bring it up. I want to see what they got. I just watched King of New York last night. Abel
Which
Ferrara's classic,
rules.
which is a real Ben movie. They've got that's part of their auteur series. They have these The Mend, John Magery's The Mend. Oh, have you seen The Mend?
I have not.
You would dig The Mend. Earmark that one, Ben.
Okay.
Which is just about a scum bum in New York trying to figure it out. Look at
Hey,
this
that's
guy.
me.
He's smoking a cigarette.
I do that.
What else we got? They've got this whole series on Japan right now with all these fascinating documentaries. They have Christian Petzold movies. You just saw Transit, right? They've got some of his old ones. Phoenix,
Sure.
Barbara. Phoenix you'd really like, I feel like. Anyway,
Okay.
lots of good movies. And it's always cycling, so there's always new stuff, and there's always a way to sort of like keep abreast of this fun art cinema they've got going on. Sounds good, right?
Honestly, We've done a few of these reads
Yeah.
for movie, and this is the one that's I'm
You're
signed
in.
up.
You're signing up.
And so, can you tell me how I could go about doing that?
You can try Movie Free for 30 days at movie.com/check. That's mubi.com/check. You get a whole month of great cinema for free. Just go to movie.com/check. Jesus. Mike TV. There's a 2001 gag.
Yeah.
Also a Psycho gag.
Oh, yeah, of
They
course.
go through multiple movies and
Yeah.
TV shows. The Oompa
Yeah.
Loompas do their little news program, and then
I
they
know,
have
and
the
you
hair
see
metal
like
band.
Deep Roy's calves.
Yeah.
Like they really go all in on the Psycho.
Kind of swole. Deep Roy
I
kinda swole.
mean, is there any the Veruca Salt thing is good. I mean, the set's really cool. We
I
talked
think these
about the
songs are
squirrels.
great.
The
I
songs
think
are
they're very
fun.
versatile. The other thing I like is that, like, by not making the movie a musical,
Mhm.
it makes it creates the comedic game of the people being like, why are they singing that?
Right. Sure.
Because when you already have like 3 musical numbers before they get to the factory, you're like, well, the Oompa Loompas are singing because it's a musical. That's like the device of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, every single time the reaction shots are so good.
Right.
It's them being like, what the fuck am I watching?
It's like a funereal march thing. Like,
And
yeah.
every time a kid like gets sucked into the hole or like falls down the chute or gets rolled away or whatever, they all like they play this like very ominous like Danny Elfman Sleepy Hollow music.
Mhm.
Why didn't anyone just leave after Augustus?
It's a great question.
Like, I probably would have bailed.
Right. Like, your policy with this kid is to suck him into a tube.
Yeah.
Can we go?
Well,
Like,
it's mostly because
right.
I hate singing. Like, I would be like, no, I can't deal with this.
Pilot, you like singing.
I hate singing in movies so much.
In movies, okay,
Yeah,
fair
we've
enough.
established I hate it.
You don't think like the Chocolate Factory is kind of like Fest?
It's different.
It's a little like Fest. All these Oompa Loompa acts. It's a little like Fest.
I don't know. I don't think many children have died at Fest.
Well.
Yeah, it's probably
I mean, if you told me a kid like drowned in a motel pool or something, I'd be like, sure, it sounds
Yeah.
like something might happen at Fest.
Right. If you told me that a kid at Fest got attacked by squirrels, I would believe
Hard
it.
as squirrels.
Yeah.
Those things are on bath salts.
Yeah. If you told me a kid at Fest turned into a blueberry and got rolled away by Deep Roy, I would believe it.
Yeah, I would love that, actually. It was just, I don't know. The singing, I just can't deal with.
Deep Roy does sound like the name of a band that would play at Fest.
Yeah.
Deep Roy.
It's weird there's not a band called Deep Roy.
Right. And their logo is like a guy falling into a pit. He's Deep Roy.
What else has Deep Roy been up to recently? I guess just Star Trek. That's really it.
Oh, he's Keenster.
Keenser.
That was very close.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're looking at a computer. Let's make it clear. You're
Oh,
correcting me.
I know Keenser's name. Excuse me.
Keenster is what if that's my nickname for him though? The
Keenster.
Keenster.
Yes, he's great in Star Trek.
Keenser
Especially in the first one when he
rules.
goes like this, like, remember?
He's a great physical comedian.
Yeah. Yeah, when Scotty beams away. He's,
I just think people don't like comprehend the quantity of acting he had to do for
in
this
this.
movie.
He had to do every single one, right? Like, they're not doubling it up or
At all.
anything, right?
No, because they're distinct performances. There's so much he has to do, and that's he was interacting with other people the least.
Right.
In a movie that otherwise everyone's in scenes with other people, whether in a practical set or in green screen elevator land, you're actually like with other people. And he probably just had to spend like weeks with Tim Burton where he's like, cool, and now this is Medic Oompa Loompa number 12. This one is checking the charts, you know? And they're like, great, this is Medic 13. He's like flicking his finger against the syringe.
Sure.
I mean, that fucking bit is so
The
good.
burn ward?
The puppet burn
My
ward.
favorite joke. I also like that the great class elevator's in this. I don't like that it has rockets, though. Don't like that.
I think it's fair.
In the books, they're like, how is this thing outside? And he's like, skyhooks. And you're like, what? You know, it's like one of those great like Willy Wonka moments where
I
he
think
just says some crazy stuff.
I think it should have like propellers.
Propellers would be fine.
Little propellers.
That'd
would
be a little
fun.
more Burton-y.
The rockets feel a little too
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah.
To me. But yes. The Mike TV gets turned into media. He gets turned into content, as
Yes.
we all do.
Mhm.
Willy Wonka's big ploy to turn chocolate into content.
There are a lot of good gags in that whole sequence, like Deep Roy sort of like leaning over to look at the TV because they're blocking and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I like that weird hermetic room.
The Oompa Loompas are so weird.
So weird. But that's what I like. Like I like the unease of them being like, who are these? Are these
Right.
robots?
Are they malevolent? Like,
Right. And he's like, no, of course they're from the Oompa Loompa tribe.
yeah.
And Mike TV's dad
from
is
Loompa
like,
Land.
I teach geography. These And Willy Wonka just interrupts him, and he's like, "So then you know very well what I'm talking about."
Right.
I just like how sinister all of this is, and it doesn't feel like twisted for twisted's sake. It feels like he's digging into all the things that people make jokes about,
Sure.
and being like, "Let's own how fucked up this entire premise."
Sure. And then the movie ends. Charlie rejects him, and he's like, "Oh, it's really about my dad." And you meet Christopher Lee.
We're getting the flashbacks throughout the movie.
I'm nodding.
Little Wilbur Wonka.
Nodding in agreement.
What's his father's name?
Wilbur.
Oh, the father's name is Wilbur.
Wilbur. Yeah.
I like to think Willie is William Wonka.
Yeah. Young William Wonka, who loves nothing more than candy. Maybe my favorite joke in the movie is when he runs away from home to see the sights of the world, and he does his little march in front of
And
all
it's
the
just
flags.
the flags of the. That's
Goes,
a good
"Sir, this
gag.
wing of the museum is
That's
closing."
a good gag.
That's like, you're like fucking Burton coming up with jokes and gags again.
Well,
Like,
John August wrote this. We should also give him credit.
This is a good
an
script.
August script. Yes.
And August had never seen the movie, loved the book. Freddie Highmore, never seen the movie, loved the book. Burton didn't like the movie. And he said to them, like, don't watch the movie. We're making our own thing. We're going off the book.
Mhm.
Which I think you feel in this movie less of an effort to be like, we have to make this different from the original.
I guess, but the plot is so prescribed, like
Right.
in the book, and it's the same in all of them. It's it's very episodic.
Now,
Let's meet the kids.
Right.
Let's do all their deaths.
No, I
Like
think
that's the plot.
Burton tends to work best in a somewhat episodic realm. This is a thing I've sort
Sure.
of been realizing while rewatching his
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
I read an interview with Daniel Waters, screenwriter of Batman Returns,
Mhm.
and Burton had asked for him. So he went in to pitch Warner Brothers, and he read the script that Sam Hamm had written.
Yeah.
And he said, this makes no sense. This is so plotty. And if
Yeah.
you've seen a Tim Burton movie and you're smart, you should be able to tell at this point that he doesn't give a shit about plot.
Yeah.
So I want to put a bunch of stuff in there.
Right.
Because he likes events, he likes ideas, he likes set pieces,
Right.
Like, you can have the thing thematically.
I know.
all
I
tied
I
together.
think that all makes sense. What you're saying.
Right. And so he wrote Batman Returns as like a series of concepts, which like Emily argued is like that movie's disjointed. And I argue the film works because all those concepts are all tied together thematically.
Willy Wonka is like
Kind of
a
perfect
cousin
material
of the
for
Penguin.
him to adopt. Yes. Right. But
There's a little overlap,
But if he's going to take in some, someone else's
and the
source
penguins
material,
are cousins of the Oompa Loompas. It would be funny if this movie ended with the penguins marching a dead Willy Wonka into the chocolate river.
yes.
That'd be good.
What's the failing of Alice in Wonderland? That he was like,
so many. But that's also episodic, though.
but what I'm saying is
Yeah.
he said in all his interviews, I wanted to make it less episodic. I always felt like Alice in Wonderland should have a stronger narrative. And the narrative is a bowl of dog diarrhea that you don't give a fuck about, and you wonder why
Alice
they keep
in
asking if
Wonderland,
she's
where
the
they're
one.
right. You're right. You hate this. We're gonna get into it
Right.
in a week or two.
Right.
When is this? Did he make anything in between?
Sleepy Hollow. Not Sleepy Hollow. I'm sorry,
Sweeney
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney.
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 But he's best when it's like Mars Attacks cutting between like different things. Beetlejuice does not have a super propulsive plot. Pee-wee is like a road trip movie. Like when he's in this zone of just like events.
I get
So,
you.
Wonka is a good fit. It's in his wheelhouse in that sense.
Even Ed Wood is like episodic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only mistake I think he makes is that you kind of lose sight of Charlie and Grandpa Joe in this film. I don't think they have to be as centralized as the Gene Wilder movie.
Yeah, but they got.
But
I like that though, because I like that he's just always in the background, so that's why he doesn't get into any trouble.
That's kind of
You
cool.
think
as
that's
a
the
meta
lesson
joke.
of this movie for
Well,
children?
yeah,
is
just
like,
like-
just take it easy.
Yeah, if you don't do anything, you'll be fine.
Right.
Like he's the only one who's
It's
not
for
like
lazy
trying
children
to, like, yeah.
everywhere.
Right.
And
'cause
like I support being lazy.
the
That's a good
Wilder
argument.
movie adds in the bubble soda where they float, which
Yeah, fuck that.
Roald Dahl hated.
Sucks.
But they're also like every time they go into a room, like Charlie and Grandpa Joe go off into a corner and like do color commentary on everything else that's happening. And this, once Wonka enters, it like becomes Wonka's movie where you're just on this weird tour with this guy you don't understand,
Right.
who makes so little sense and is so prickly, except for these little flashbacks, which are filling in what's pretty obvious. From the first time, the first
We
flashback,
get it. Yeah, no.
when
I
you
mean, yeah,
see the headgear, you get it. Christopher Lee as the dad is really good casting.
of course. No objection there. Love Chris Lee. Bring him in. Anytime.
Tim Burton loves Chris Lee and Vincent Price, right?
Mhm.
He cast Vincent Price in his early movies.
Scissorhands.
Right. And then Christopher Lee he puts in Sleepy Hollow.
Mhm.
Christopher Lee's old at that point in time. I bet he's probably like, well, this is the one chance I'll get to work with Christopher Lee. And then Christopher Lee out of nowhere becomes like America's favorite 90-year-old movie star. And
is
suddenly
true.
becomes a name that he can put in all his
In
movies.
between Sleepy Hollow and this, he made 2 Star Warses and 2 Star Warses
Two Star
and
Wars.
3 Lords of Rings.
And everyone's like all in on Christopher Lee now. So now it's like, and Christopher Lee as Wilbur Wonka,
Yep.
DDS.
Did you know that Dwayne Johnson was Burton's second choice for
Yeah.
this?
Which would have been great.
for
Yes.
Depp, to be clear, not
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
dad. It'd be
'Cause,
weird
like,
if it was the dad.
he wasn't as big in 2005.
No, it's
so,
sort of the
like,
beginning of his
yeah.
his
But
like
well, I meant
stardom.
just like physically.
Right.
But
That's
I think
true.
like,
He also was actually less
like
insane.
2019 Dwayne Johnson would be so terrifying to children.
But that was
looking.
always...
Hey kids!
You read all of Burton's weird casting ideas, and it was either the actors he's worked with before and loved, people who are obviously in his wheelhouse, and then his second choice would always be a weird energy choice.
Uh-huh.
Like him wanting Sammy Davis Jr. for Beetlejuice.
Right.
Where he's like, I don't know, he's kind of like a wheeler dealer showman.
right.
My pick is Henry Rollins.
Henry Law.
He's tortured. He could do good monologues. He's
Yeah.
intense. He doesn't like kids.
His
would
monologues
rule.
aren't that good.
You rule.
You guys have all seen that video where Henry Rollins is like, what was it? It was for like his IFC show or something, where he's at the record
Which I
store.
own on DVD for some reason.
The Henry Rollins
Yeah.
show? Not for some reason.
Not surprised.
I know exactly
I'm not
why
even
you
a
own
big
that.
Henry Rollins fan.
Well, you're a big Henry Rollins show fan. Yes. Yeah, right. Very clearly.
Also, his he was on Paul Reiser's show, right?
Was he on the Paul Reiser
I believe
show?
so. Yeah.
Wow. And he's in Bad Boys,
Your favorite
too.
show.
Yes, my favorite show.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
How many
there's...
episodes did the Paul Reiser show? Is that wait?
I think it aired like 3 or 4.
Right. When the Mad About You revival airs on Spectrum Originals,
Yeah.
is the Paul Reiser show going to air with it or next after?
They're
Like,
also reviving the Paul Reiser
But if it was
show.
like everyone wanted the Mad About You revival, but Reiser insisted that it was packaged with the Paul Reiser show,
Yes.
which also had like Andy Daly and Omid Jalili in it.
Yes.
Great show.
What I was going to say was, I believe it's a Henry Rollins show clip in which he goes to a record store with like a humanitarian writer, and he's like showing her what America's like, and some kids in the record store yell, "Hey, get in the van!" And he like turns his head to shoot them daggers, and then is like walks up to them and is like, "What? So what's the idea? You make fun of the old guy? Well, because you're so turned on, you're so hip. What? You make fun of the old guy? You trust fund babies?" And he just eviscerates these like 2 kids. But his head turn to "Hey man, get in the van" is the funniest thing on the entire internet. I recommend that everyone go find this
It
video.
doesn't even sound like they were being mean. Just like, oh,
That's
I
the
recognize
name.
him.
That's
Yes.
the name of his books.
Yeah.
of,
Right.
Like when he was traveling with Black Flag.
And then he's very
Like, they were just
condescending.
like, oh, I know you.
He's very condescending to this woman he's with, where he's like, "You have to understand, it's that's the title of a book I wrote. It's very popular. People are big fans of it. I actually won several awards for it. So if someone says that to me, they're mocking me." So he brags about how well known the thing is, and then gets like violently angry at someone for calling him that.
He rules.
I was sort of zoning out during all of that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. No objection. I was just
2005,
thinking about stuff.
like
I was looking at the Rock's filmography.
pre-Southland Tales, The Rock
It's Be
makes sense
Cool.
for him.
This year is
Right.
his Be Cool and Doom.
But you get the sense of that thing of
All
just
movies
like
I saw in theaters.
Of course,
there's something kind of
I saw Be Cool in
creepy
theaters. I
this
did not
point
see
in time with how big The Rock is and how hard he's trying to be like friendly and approachable.
Right.
Like this was before he had like figured his thing out.
Right.
And he was sort of moving out of action films and into family movies. And it was like this big guy who's like trying to be very
But
like
isn't
accessible.
He's now at the size, the Schwarzenegger's type size, where
Yeah.
it's like if he's in a movie, it has to be addressed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or you just don't address it, but then
Right.
it's weird.
Yes, I agree with that.
Now he is that size.
Now he's that size.
Right,
Where
right.
you're like, you can't pretend
Where
this
they
is
need
a
to be like,
normal looking
this
person.
man, right, was in the military for a long time. Like,
Right.
needs to be said. Like,
Right.
or else people would just be like, what's this guy's deal?
Right. The width of your body shoulder to shoulder is more than your height. Like once you have that sort of axis fight going on,
Like he probably has to have like specially designed like showers and right like things like in his house now.
Right.
And he can't like clear a door frame without like turning sideways.
No, every doorway in Dwayne Johnson's house is shaped like Dwayne Johnson. It looks like he just like Bugs Bunnied through a wall.
How tall do you
Dwayne's
think he
toilet is like the squirrel thing.
He's 6'5".
Wow.
He's
Right?
so tall.
Wait, I missed Ben's joke. His toilet is what?
Like the squirrel thing in this movie.
Yes, 3 comedy points.
And he does have squirrels evaluate his poops.
Right, and he does those like big like his cheat day is like 80 pancakes and tequila.
Is that what he does? You've been talking about his tequila.
He
social
suddenly,
media
I mean,
brand.
you follow The Rock very
his
closely.
Instagram is really great when he's on his cheat days.
Right.
His
It's so
cheat days are good,
intimidating.
but also he's all about tequila now because he's clearly launching a tequila brand. He wants to make that George Clooney money. So now he's like, only my closest collaborators are invited into the tequila circle. And it will be like a picture of him and like, you know, San Andreas director Brad Payton doing tequila shots.
I mean, if The Rock had a tequila factory
Yeah.
and he got 5 kids to tour it,
Do you
it would
think
be amazing.
that
Pilot.
would be a pretty good movie?
Pilot.
Damn
Fuck.
it. We figured it out.
God damn it.
That would probably be a gentleman's 6.
Well, Pilot, congratulations. You just made $3 million with that pitch.
God, I was going to make a joke about, you know, if The Rock asked Brad Payton to drink poison, would he do it? But
Yeah.
like now I can't even
You
bother.
have like 15 days to pitch this before this episode comes out and it's
Right.
a feeding frenzy. This will be the biggest spec sale in history.
It'll tie in with the launch of his brand.
Are you fucking kidding
I
me?
mean, this is
He would buy
killer.
this.
But it would also result in so many drunk children.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're headed
Yeah. Flip
as a society.
$7 Productions will pay you $7 billion for this concept. Because it'll be like Quaker Oats financing the movie to launch the candy bar.
Right.
He's like taken out patents for his tequila, but he hasn't launched it yet. He needs a good movie to launch his tequila.
He needs some sort of shape that the bottle can be in, and he's trying to find that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It
he's
should
like,
definitely be in the shape of his body.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
well, that's a lot of tequila. I don't know.
Not
That
to-
should be his
How about
pitch.
not
just
to scale.
one-
It'd be good if it was to scale, though.
Just one big pack.
Yeah, one pack.
One pack.
It's just a pack.
Yeah.
A crystal pack.
It would be great if, like, Michael Jordan cologne, it was like the silhouette of his head.
Yeah, right?
Because his head and his neck are distinctive enough now, you know?
I would agree. He's bald.
Yeah.
Did you see Fighting with... We were talking about Fighting with My Family, but you didn't see it.
I didn't see it yet, no.
I can't believe you haven't seen that.
It's not like
Pilot's not a Page
wrestler
fan.
movies.
You're not a Page fan.
I'm not a Page fan.
Okay.
Because I was asking Pilot like about Paige because the movie kind of fails to tell you what Paige's ring persona was like.
Sure.
But
She had, like, a very quick sort of rise and then several injuries and is now retired, right?
Sort
it
of.
was pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her ring persona was mostly just like being British and yelling, "This is my house," and wearing like awesome outfits,
Which-
which is actually pretty good.
To me, sounds good. This is my house, English. Like
Yeah.
I'm like signed, sealed, and delivered.
Why would you care about that?
Let's play the box office game. Unless there's anything else you want to say.
No, I think the end of the movie's nice. I mean, it is a little too pat in terms of solving everything.
Yeah, that's my problem.
I do like that he is still kind of standoffish when he comes into the house, but is like trying to
yeah, that's kind
remember
of
to
sweet.
say nice things. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I like it.
It's weird that they moved the house into the factory.
I like that.
I
though.
like
and the little
that.
salt
It's a cool.
shakers, like,
the salt
salting,
shakers
yeah.
are cool. It's just you know what a nicer.
And the
house.
final Deep Roy reveal is great.
Yes, that is amazing.
Jeffrey Holder, a great voice.
That I
Yeah.
love.
I don't like when Charlie's shining his shoes. That upsets me for some reason.
That he's got to work that job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
The only other thing that I hated about watching it is that I gave up candy for Lent, and then I watched this
Yes.
right after,
Fuck.
and it
I saw you
was
tweeting
so
that.
bad.
I can't
Sucked.
believe you did that, Pilot.
Yeah. Ugh.
That's a
I made a
bold
huge
move.
mistake.
Considering that you don't eat a lot of foods, it's crazy that you gave up one of the foods.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your food pyramid is only like 3 squares, and
Yeah.
one of them is candy.
And I also don't drink caffeine anymore.
Fuck.
Wow.
What are you consuming right now? What are you eating and drinking these days?
Water?
Yeah, you have 2 water bottles in front
I do,
of you.
yeah.
You've killed 2
I
bottles
do
of water.
often put sugar in the water.
Okay.
Though, so it's basically like Kool-Aid.
Sugar
Uh,
and
and
water.
that's about it.
Great.
Yeah.
You just drinking sugar water?
Yep.
Pilot is looking a little cockroachy these days. I don't know how to phrase this. You kind of look like there's a cockroach shoved in your skin.
I've tweeted
and
about
it's
this.
not fitting perfectly.
But the greatest moment in my favorite movie is Men in Black. I mean, I don't know, top 10.
You've referred to 5 movies as your
I
favorite
know.
movie. On
It's
this
in the
podcast.
top 10.
Yeah.
It's in the top 10.
Yeah, a masterpiece.
And my favorite moment in the perfect movie, Men in Black, is when Tommy Lee Jones says, "Let her go, shit eater," while he's pointing a gun at Vincent D'Onofrio, and Will Smith just gives him this look of like, Jesus, like, and it's not brought up again. It's so good.
I think I can
Let
tell.
her go, shit eater.
I can tell the story because he told it publicly.
Okay.
George Lucas show I do on a monthly basis at the UCB Theater in New York
Watto
City.
does that show. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. Show that my good friend Watto does with his good friend George Lucas that neither I nor Connor Ratliff have no involvement in. Ed Solomon,
The writer of Men in Black.
co-writer of Men in Black and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, was on the show recently, and he said that when Tommy Lee Jones signed on to make the film, and Will Smith came on much later, they were struggling to find someone to play the Will Smith part. They wanted David Schwimmer, and then it was like Ethan
That
Hawke.
is crazy.
Crazy, right?
Wow.
Like no one wanted Will Smith, and then it was
What?
it was one of those things where like then
They were like, talk me into Will Smith because Schwimmer is still at the top of the pyramid here.
and then like Independence Day came out when they were like about to start filming,
And they
were
had to
like,
convince Will Smith to do it. I think Will Smith
Yes.
was kind of like another alien movie. Like, I don't know.
right.
Yeah.
But Tommy Lee Jones had been on board for a while, and they were like, "Oh, this is great! Like he's like perfect casting. He must love the script."
Yeah.
And he asked Ed Solomon, and I'm forgetting his writing partner's name, to go out to dinner with him, and they were like, "Great! He's going to want to like, talk script with us." And he sits down and he's like, "So the script doesn't work." And they were
Okay.
like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Either it's a comedy or it's a sci-fi film.
Right.
It can't be both. You have to choose one, asshole."
Wow.
And Tommy Lee Jones apparently said to him, "You have to choose asshole." They're like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "We didn't choose."
Right.
And they were like, "So what did Tommy Lee Jones do?" And they were like, "He was really angry for like the first month of filming. And then he finally kind of conceded that maybe it was working as a comedy."
It's a great comedy. But his total seriousness is crucial.
And
of
we
course.
talk about this all the time, that Tommy Lee Jones can't give a bad performance because if he's locked in, he's giving a really smart performance of a grumpy man. And if he hates the movie, then he's just naturally being grumpy.
Right. You said, and that's on our, I believe, our Captain America Patreon episode. We
Little
talk about
teaser.
this. Rocking the house.
But he
in
can't
that
be
one,
bad.
by the way.
He rocks
the house. I rocked my entire couch to show how much he rocked the house
But
in that
he
movie.
hates Captain America. And we're like, he seems
in
so
the movie, you
locked
mean.
in.
Right. I agree.
No,
But-
in real life, he hates the performance. He hates the
Oh, he
working
hates
on
the
the
movie.
film.
He's like, yeah,
and we're like,
whatever.
how could he hate it when he's this
Right,
good? And
right.
it's like, because his
But-
like open contempt for the project he's working on reads
it helps.
as like,
It's good. Right. Exactly. Where he's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
But in Men in Black, he has so many one-liners, such as "Let her go, shit eater," but also like the thing where he's like, "See this? This is going to be the new CDs. I'm going to have to buy the White Album again," which is like a really weird, funny line,
And his
like
line
that he
readings
just
are so
tosses
good.
off totally flat,
His
like
first scene
very
where
mono.
he's like joking around with the worms at the coffee counter.
Yeah, and he's just like totally like what's the word? It's not monotonal. It's go on, keep talking.
He's sort of like off the cuff, like he's very loose with
offhand, I guess.
Right,
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
Matter of fact.
Right,
Thank
that
you.
sort of stuff. But I wonder if it was just like the first 3 weeks were a wash where they could only get him delivering perfunctory dialogue.
Sure.
And thankfully those things edit across the film
The
so that they
thing
don't
where
seem
he
weird.
always calls him either Mr. White or Mr.
Yeah.
Black. This is my partner, Mr. Black, and Will Smith always just gives him a look. That movie's perfect.
But, it's a perfect
It's
film.
a perfect
But
movie.
Ed
Do you
Solomon
like
was
Men in
like-
Black
I
pilots?
do. I love
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
I love most Will Smith movies.
Yeah.
Also, Will Smith would have been a great Willy Wonka.
Oh, he would have been a great
Not
Willy
a bad idea because this is like
he would have been
Hitch
rapping
era.
throughout most of it.
This is the same year as
That
Hitch.
would have been good.
This is the same year as Hitch.
Hitch is like a Valentine's Day.
Hitch
movie.
is so good.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Hitch in a while.
Hitch is really good.
Eva Mendes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is Hitch the best romantic comedy of that
It'd be
decade?
funny if you're like, is Hitch the best film of all time?
Absolutely.
I don't think Hitch is the best romantic comedy of that decade. I'm going to pump the brakes on that.
Okay. Well, I think it is. I think Hitch
It is
All right.
my
Well, we'll
favorite-
do Battle at Dawn
It's my favorite Will Smith movie of that year.
of that.
of 2005. I think
was-
Pursuit of Happiness might also be an
was.
05er.
Yeah.
So bad.
Gets an Oscar nom for that.
What about the fact that he does the Rubik's Cube really fast in the car? and that's why he gets the job or
They
whatever.
play the Christina Aguilera song.
And you know what? It's
Job interviews
2006. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's how
Oh, it was the following year?
Pretty sure they give
Because
you
he
a
was
Rubik's
one of
Cube.
those once-a-year event guys.
And it would always
Yeah.
make $100 million. That was
Right.
he was like in that sort of Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks.
He had like 100 million films in a row or something. No, Tom Hanks
Wasn't
had the
that
longest
many.
run.
Yeah.
Because he was interrupted by the Ali Bagger Vance back-to-back, which those two bombed.
Ollie didn't bomb. Bagger Vance bombed. Ollie just like underwhelmed relative to budget.
Cost a lot of money.
Money.
Look,
money.
we're never going to talk about it on this podcast, so whatever. Who cares? Hitch rules. I remember when I was in high school and a couple of us were writing different top 10 of the year lists for the movies of the year.
Sure.
A guy told me that he was putting Hitch at his number one, and I was like, wow, I respect that. Like, that's like actually like...
You had Hitch number one?
No,
Okay,
another
okay.
guy who
Oh,
was
okay,
doing the
another
top
guy
10.
did, okay.
My number one was the fucking New World.
Sure.
Right.
But
I
Hitch
was...
is so much better.
Not true. But Hitch is very close.
Sure.
Hitch is not so much better. It's a little better. I love the New World, but he was like, I'm putting Hitch as my number one movie. And I was like, wow, I kind of like, I like respect that. And then he was like, I was joking. But I had really thought through it, and I was like, you know what? Not a conventional pick. No one's putting on their list, but like you do have to kind of like game recognize game, like Hitch fucks. Hitch is charming. We'll talk about that when we do our Andy Tennant miniseries.
Exactly. Well, good pull. All right. Number one at the box office. It's July 15th, 2005.
It's Charlie, and it makes like 55 million.
56.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's a big hit.
Yeah.
And I remember this very vividly because it dethroned my most hated movie of this year.
Go ahead. Number 3.
It's number 3, so it dipped all the way down.
Well, there was another big opener this week.
Okay. So number 3 is the Fantastic Four, which had inexplicably opened to over $50 million the weekend before. I was convinced that movie was going to bomb, and it did weirdly fucking
It's
well.
made $100 million in 2 weeks.
I hate that movie.
You don't like it.
No, it's my least favorite of the 4 Fantastic Four movies.
Number 2.
It's the other big release.
Is a comedy.
It's a comedy. Oh, is it Wedding Crashers?
Yes.
Right, because
Oh, right.
I was
That's a
trying to
big thing.
describe Wedding Crasher.
no, because Charlie outgrosses it the
Yeah.
first weekend, and then Wedding Crashers moves up to number 1 in the following weekends.
No, it doesn't.
Weekend 3, it becomes number 1?
Maybe. Let's see.
I believe weekend
Yes,
3.
weekend 3 it does.
Thank you. It
Yes.
creeps up there, and it ends up making more in total than Charlie.
That's insane.
Insane. That
That's-
movie was such a big hit. And that movie sucks farts.
How do you feel about Wedding Crashers pilot?
I have only seen it the once, which I
Okay.
assume was like when it came out, and I'm sure I loved it, and I'm
Right.
sure if I watched it now, I'd hate it.
That sounds right.
It is.
Just most movies in 2005, I think.
Bad.
I remember I saw it in theaters whenever it came out because that's what I did. And I was
Yeah.
like, that was funny. And I really liked Rachel McAdams.
Yes.
She's very good.
She's
So
good.
charming in
She's
it.
very good.
Where it was that sort of moment where you're like, is she the next Julia Roberts? Like, wait a second. Like, have we been sitting on something here?
This was her crazy, like,
Because it was a year after Mean Girls where you're
Right.
like, whoa.
and no, it was because it was Mean Girls
It's
and
04.
Notebook or 2004.
Right.
Then 2005, she has Wedding Crashers, Red Eye,
Love Red.
and
Oh,
Family
Red Eye.
Stone. She's really good in as well. I know you hate
horrible
Family
movie,
Stone,
but she's the best part
really
of it.
good in that.
Of course.
The
That's what
Family
Junior
Stone is a
Smash
movie I've seen at least 15
It's
times.
very watchable. It's very.
I don't think I've
watchable.
ever enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No.
But I've seen it.
I
so
mean, I
many
enjoy
times.
the scene where Sarah Jessica Parker points at her skin to indicate a black person, and the whole family basically puts her on trial.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good scene.
It's one of the most hostile movies
Yep.
ever made.
Oh, sorry for spiking
That
there.
movie is like a Mississippi Burning, except at Christmas time.
It's also a wife swapping movie. There's a lot going
Yes.
on in the
There's a lot
Family
going on
Stone.
in that
It's just
movie.
everyone's just so casual about it too. Just like,
Yep.
oh, okay, fine.
Yep.
We'll just accept this now.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Rachel McAdams rules in that.
Right.
Everyone thought she was going to become Julia Roberts, and then she like disappears for 2 years and comes back with The Lucky Ones.
And Time Traveler's Wife, which is like
That's
one of those
even later.
endlessly
Right.
reshooted. She
It takes her a while. Then
she
it felt
failed
like
to capitalize. It's true.
it felt like did she miss her moment? And I feel like she's gotten back into a good pocket the last 5 years.
She
or
got
so.
her Oscar nomination.
Thank God, she's so good.
Love her.
She rules. Should have been nominated for The Hot Chick. She's really good in that.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's a Shiner movie.
She's
right?
really good in that.
Number 4 is a film we've talked about on this podcast.
Number 4 is a film we talked about in this podcast. Is it War of the Worlds?
Every time you're getting them.
I remember
War of the
this
Worlds.
summer vividly.
Me too.
God, I've seen so many of these in theaters.
Yeah,
Like, that's
this
all
is
I
the-
did in 2005.
This is a big
we were
summer.
all like in that where it's like, what else are you gonna do? You know?
Well,
like-
the World's also owned on bootleg for my back.
There you go.
When you're at this level of like,
Slightly better movie to get from a war. It has war in the title than Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Anyway, what was the other one?
did your dad like autograph it?
Finding Neverland.
Finding Neverland.
Did your dad autograph the DVD and say like from one war to another?
No.
All the best.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
That'd be a weird move.
You think that'd be weird? You think that would be a weird thing to do?
War of the Worlds. Another movie with an unsatisfying ending.
Yeah, which JD loves.
Number 5 is another movie we've talked about on this podcast that I saw many times in theaters.
Batman Begins. It's a big summer.
You've also got Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I saw that in theaters.
Yeah.
You got Dark Water. Darkest Water there is. It's a wet horror movie.
Is that Jennifer Connelly?
That's right. Jennifer Connelly in a haunted water tower.
Is that like
Haunted.
Also on bootleg?
Let's keep going. How many of these did you boot? Herbie Fully Loaded?
I
Because
don't
of
think so.
Lindsay
Basically,
Lohan's
most from like
tits.
2005, 2007, I like got.
I just love thinking about the Disney pitch meeting where they're like, it's a reference to her boobs, and the guy's like, yeah.
But then they digitally trim them down
Yeah.
because the parents were freaking out at the advertising.
I almost watched that yesterday because it like came up on Hulu after Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Keaton's in it.
And I was like,
Keaton's in it. He's really good. No. That movie's not.
Have you
bad.
seen Documentary Now this year?
Yes.
Keaton's really good in the Batshit Valley
I
episode.
haven't watched those two. I've
Yeah.
watched the
Co-op.
and
You
I've watched the Marina Abramovich
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
What was I gonna say? I'm gonna tell a story that probably embarrass her, but Angela Robinson, who directed Herbie Fully Loaded,
You
seemed like she was
embarrass Angela Robinson?
no.
The director of Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman.
Right.
Wonder
And she also
Woman.
directed Debs, which is a very fun
Ooh,
movie.
Debs is so good.
Yes.
Debs rules. And
Seminal.
She got
2000s.
Herbie Fully Loaded off of Debs because she started getting general meetings, and she's like, I want to make a Disney movie. Like, what I'd love to do is make a Herbie movie.
Herbie would have been so much better if it was so much gayer.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So Debs is very gay. It's a very fun movie. She was an NYU graduate. My father works at NYU, so she was like a big like point of pride student at that point in time. Where it's like, look, she made this like indie gay comedy, and now she's making a huge Disney film, right?
This episode's so long.
Sorry.
It's fine. No, keep going. I like it.
Romley is like 6 or 7 at this point in time.
Oh, this is embarrassing Romilly.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
So my dad takes her to see Herbie Fully Loaded, which she's amped to see because she's all in on Lohan at this point.
Sure.
But they end up missing the first 10 minutes of the movie, if not more, because it was the day of the Gay Pride Parade.
Okay. So you mean just a traffic issue, or?
My parents lived right on Fifth Avenue.
Sure,
So it was
right.
hard to get around, even just walking, crossing the street to get to the theater.
Yeah.
My family's not very punctual. You might not believe that.
Right.
So they were late and they missed the beginning of the movie. And Romley, at a young age trying to process things,
Right.
announced, I hate gay people.
For costing her the first 10 minutes of Herbie Fully Loaded.
Like a very serious, like 6 or 7-year-old, like, I hate gay people. And we had to sit her down and be like,
No.
Actually,
right.
the director of the film is gay, so you would not even have this movie.
Wow. That's how you just sort of taught her, like, to bring it full circle.
That's how we taught her tolerance. And Peter Farrelly has optioned the rights to make that into his next movie.
God. And this.
That's kind of a good story.
Kind of. That's one of the better stories you've ever told.
Because I
Oh,
saw
my
her
God.
actually doing the math in her head. Right.
Right. They
What are
stopped
these
me
gay
from
people
seeing Herbie Fully
contributing?
Loaded, but there
They
wouldn't
got
even
a
be a
parade.
Herbie Fully Loaded.
I miss my movie. I want to see Lindsay Lohan.
Yes.
And then we were like, director of the film.
No, we got it. We're done.
And
with
at
that
the end
story.
of the movie, Romley invites Angela Robinson over for dinner.
Right.
And the whole family cheers on Christmas Eve. Green Book. Anything else in the box office?
Bewitched.
I saw that.
Madagascar. I'm looking for bootlegs here. March of the Penguins.
Bewitched I did have. Madagascar I did not.
Rebound with Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
No.
Where he's like a basketball
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah. Don't say no.
No,
Yeah.
I did have it on bootleg, but I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love all Martin
Yes.
Lawrence.
Of
movies.
Yes. Right.
Longest Yard.
Yes.
Crash.
Mm.
Me and You and Everyone We Know. That must have been bootlegged in Iraq.
God.
Monster
What a weird
in
war zone
Law.
that was.
Right.
Pooping
Miranda
back and forth
July's
forever.
there. Oh boy.
You know, I spent. I just got back from like a week in LA.
You were in Law.
I was in La La Land, And here's the thing. I just had this thought. I was in the back of a lift, and I thought to myself, all the people in this city, they're in their little metal boxes, so separated. Sometimes it feels like they
crashed into each other just to feel something. Yeah, good point.
I made that joke to my girlfriend 12 times.
Interesting.
And she married me just so that she could divorce me.
You had to go to Nevada?
I kept setting it up earnestly like it was an actual realization I'd had. And I've now been divorced 5 times.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
On your 5 marriage.
It is weird, though, that in LA, it feels like the people are so distant and separate from each other that sometimes they have to crash into each other just to feel something.
Ben, final thoughts?
Final thoughts on this movie. I think that the fact that it sort of is setting up that the candy is growing, like it's a tree that grows a candy tree that grows a candy apple.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's
All
my
right.
final thought.
Good.
I mean, this is a big, like, pep in his step movie, and he's got the juice of Johnny Depp being an A-list movie star now, because this is only the 4th time they've worked together, and then they do 4 more movies together.
4?
You know?
Is it just, yeah, I guess if you count Corpse Bride, it's 4
right, because you
yeah.
go across the 90s, it's 3.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's
Charlie,
sporadic.
Right,
yeah.
then they're all, like...
And then it's just, right, he's in everything.
He's in everything.
And then Dark Shadows is the last one.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is the movie, like, you go, like, Mars Attacks underperforms... Big Fish does okay. Planet of the Apes makes a lot of money, but everyone hates it.
Right.
This is like his first sort of like, okay, he's like safely on 3rd movie, if not a total home run. It's a big grosser.
One last thought. I don't usually like nerds, but I like Nerds, the candy.
That's a great thought.
I loved nerds when I was a kid. You know what nerds are? Are sugar. That's it.
But they're in little compartments.
I know, but
and you
the
can
thing was
mix
like,
and
what's that
match.
candy? What's the candy? Sugar?
Pebbles?
Like just pellets of sugar?
Right.
We need something. Okay, there's 2 kinds and it's divided.
Isn't that weird that Nestle dropped all the Wonka branding? They still have the rights and they've just taken it away.
I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for like an ideal moment to relaunch.
Oh, well, we should mention this. Warner Brothers is threatening to make another movie.
Yes.
They have a script that I believe Simon Rich wrote. That's a Wonka prequel about young Wonka and how he built the factory. A movie that I think no one wants to see.
I would rather see The Glass Elevator.
100%.
Right. That book is crazy.
Yeah.
Has aliens that look like turnips called Vermicious Nids.
Now, Warner Brothers...
Has like the president in it, and like the president's nurse is like the secret president. There's a lot going on in that one.
I think Paramount back in the day tried to make the sequel with Gene Wilder.
Dahl said no.
Doll Estate wouldn't give it. And then Warner Brothers also, they were like, we won't let you do that. You'd have to prove to us that you can make a good Charlie first.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprising they never made it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing just Depp and Burton weren't interested and that they wouldn't do it without them.
They're probably right. Yeah.
The Wonka prequel feels like a weird idea.
Yeah.
They're saying they want Ryan Gosling or Donald Glover to do it, which I'm sure everyone's saying they want Ryan Gosling or Donald Glover to do anything.
Ryan Gosling would be a bizarre choice.
He'd be very
Donald
creepy.
Glover, sure.
He'd be very-
I would love Donald. I love the
Yeah.
idea of Donald Glover growing up to become Johnny Depp.
Me too. Well, it's like Teddy Perkins.
And explaining it, exactly.
Right.
Like being like, we're going to explain how I'm going to turn
The movie
into
should
Johnny
end
Depp.
with him coming out of surgery with like ghastly Johnny Depp prosthetics.
Right.
And he's
That
like,
would-
I'm ready for my factory.
That would make the Michael Jackson thing work.
I was going to say, Teddy Perkins, baby. But there is one other adaptation of this material. Do you know this, that Warner Brothers has released another film based on this book?
Is it like the hero of Color City or something?
No, Warner Brothers has released, and I think it was probably an Ashcan thing just to retain the rights.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Uh-huh.
Tom and Jerry go to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or it's like Tom and Jerry meet Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. They made an 86-minute film that is a direct remake of the Gene Wilder film. The designs of the kids, the costumes,
They
the
look like the
factory,
Gene Wilder.
exactly the same.
Oompa-Loompas,
The
yeah.
cartoon character of Gene Wilder looks like
This
him.
one's 79 minutes long, so 2 minutes longer than Stuart Little, too.
It has all the songs in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise is that Charlie and Tom and Jerry are fighting over a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Then Charlie saves them, and then they just follow him along into the factory. And then once they get into the factory, they meet a small Oompa Loompa mouse.
Have you seen this film?
I read the full Wikipedia entry last night. It is nightmarish. It is so weird. Look up any clips of it. It's a fucking nightmare. I am all but certain they made this to retain rights. because they've had this weird direct-to-video series of Tom and Jerry films in which Tom and Jerry don't fight with each other and they invade other IP. So they did like Tom and Jerry Wizard of Oz and Tom and Jerry Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And in all of them, they don't play the roles. It's not like Muppet Treasure Island. It's like Tom and Jerry just happen to be the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern
I get
off
it,
to the
right.
side of some other
Yeah.
literary work.
This is literally just the Gene Wilder one. There's the Bubble Room.
The exact same songs.
Yeah.
Except Slugworth is apparently like the third lead. Slugworth has 2 songs in it.
We have to be done.
How long is this episode for?
2.5 hours.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Hours, man.
I didn't know we were going for that long. How could I know?
We need to give you a big clock.
Oh, shit. I got to get out of here. Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. Thanks as always to Ange Fergudo for social media, Joe Bo and Pat Reynolds for our artwork, Lee Montgomery for our theme song. Go to blankies.reddit.com for some real nerdy shit. Go to TeePublic for some real nerdy shirts. Go to the fucking Patreon and subscribe to that. You'll get more content like Tommy Lee Jones rocking the house. Pilot, any final thoughts? Anything to plug?
No.
Pilot rules.
Pilot's the best.
Follow Pilot on everything. Follow all of Pilot's work. Thank you for making David and I better friends. And as always, I just realized I have a job in 5 minutes.
You're the one who moved the time.
I know, because I thought we'd be done by now.